Hello, and gamers and gamettes. I'm McCready. Joining me is going to be Stickler, and welcome to the Upsurge Premier League. Well, we've had a really strong start to our group stage at the moment this week, but well, we're just not done yet. Stickler, we have some very exciting games coming up tonight, don't we?
Yeah, we have a good clash between Synthetic and Emergence Black, two teams fairly new on the block. While Synthetic has been a prominent figure in Siege for a long time, their roster taking on a bit of a different look tonight. Poison has been working together with org staff, with all of the new faces that are going to be on this team, to try and figure out if they could return to the level of play that Synthetic once held. Over on Emergence's side of things, honestly, I can't say too much as to what you might expect from their performance. You've got a solid player like Sonafin, good competitive background. He's played in a variety of different leagues, hoping that he can bring a bit of a leadership role to this team tonight.
Yeah, and I think having that leadership role is something you need to make sure that you can bring and you go in very comfortably with. So hopefully they will be able to fill in that role. Now, these two teams, like I said, I don't really know too much about them. I've seen Synthetic a little bit, and like you said, they held that dominance over. So now that implies that they don't. So what I'm thinking is Emergence Black, this is a real opportunity to put some rounds on the board. Put a really good performance for yourself and try and get into that little gap that's now been made by that Synthetic having a little bit of a change. But the question is where, Stickler, because I think the map is going to be very important, because this Synthetic roster, they might feel stronger or weaker depending on the new roster changes and the new kind of dynamic of that competitive scene.
And especially given that with how new the roster is, they might not have had this huge amount of time to practice and build their pool. You know, maybe they're not so comfortable on maps that are not just they haven't seen yet. I think that could lean us into something more of, Clubhouse, Oregon, Villa, maybe even Cafe, kind of just the expectation here tonight. For Emergence, I don't think there's really any way that you could particularly game this one out. We'll see them veto Coastline immediately off the bat. That's one I've seen Synthetic have some promise on, especially when you've got strong fraggers there in your backline, like Freak, like Agera. You do not want to get in their way, and especially like on a map of Coastline.
I think that's a really good point you bring up as well, is this is a team that maybe haven't had that much time to work with, so taking away a map like Coastline, where you'd rely a bit more on that mechanical, aggressive play, that's really, really important. We are seeing Calf Club and Chalet being taken away. Constant will follow. Emergence yet again taking that away. I think Synthetic, they're leaving it on board just in case. Suddenly, though, that's leaving two maps. Oregon and Villa. Villa will be where we're heading to, as Oregon's taken away by Synthetic. And I think that might be saying, okay, if we're going on to one of these more default maps, well, the big question is, will they be prepared for the default strategies? Do we have something prepared to really go in there and say we have the advantage? Because you look at Oregon, and yes, you know a default strategy, and you know a default hold. Every team does. But the big question, do the other team know? Do Emergence, are they ready for it? Is there anything you have that could catch them off guard? Probably not if you're a brand new roster and still trying to work out a lot of the kinks.
Yeah, I think this one we're kind of just going to have to play it by hand, see how it goes. Could be more of, maybe momentum driven if Synthetic have a rocky start at the beginning, given that they will be on the first offense. That could cause an issue that we see sort of linger on for the entire duration of the match. Jumping over towards our operator vetoes, there are a few expectations here. A lot of ranged hard breaching, almost never seeing the Thatcher make it through. Maybe on the defense side of things, something to help out on the roam. Maybe we'll see also an attacker ban, could be feasible Nomad here. I've seen recently for Villa and for Cafe a lot of more Nomad vetoes.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Because you think about a lot of these teams, they're saying, okay, well, we can shut down this flank watch. And, well, the main important part of it is the passive flank watch. That's what Nomad brings to the table. A little bit of audio. Well, if you take away a Nomad, that's not going to be there. You need to commit actual drones to it, maybe even a zero cam. That's not going to happen. We're going to see the buck being taken away. And I think this is because Villa, it's one of those maps where teams that heavily lean into vertical play coming from down below, they will opt for that buck because, unlike a sledge, it has that presence from going down below, shooting upwards. That's something when you think about the map of Villa, a very vertical-based heavy map, it's something very, very important. We talk about a sledge kill opening a lot of the time, Stickler, and we talk about the importance of that almost every single time we see Villa. But Buck going down below, think about your triple wall, think about your aviator, and then even when you look down below. I think this is Synthetic saying, we do not want you to have the opportunity of this vertical play, which will put us into very uncomfortable positions. If you start ripping the floor up from below, then where are we going to play for our defense? We're not going to feel comfortable. It's vertical play on the opposite end. And I think that's something Synthetic, they're just not prepared to deal with. They get to keep that sledge moving through. Now, Valkyrie and Goya will also be taken away, and I think there's a lot of merit behind this decision as well.
Yeah, curious that we got the Goyo ban coming through. I think Buck for Synthetic definitely signifies they are prepared to play on this map. They know the value of the vertical play, and I mean, every objective on this map has an interaction with vertical play in some respect. I mean, you know, we joke about it, but even on Living Room Library, the best way to defend that is to extend upstairs, to play through the floor, to open everything up, and to hold it as a vertical unit. If you lose control of the top floor, there's no way that you're going to win that site. The very same, I think, is true looking at Statue. Vertical almost always used to try and expedite the hard breaching process, whether it's Electro Claws on the wall or, you know, Bandit Batteries. All of those can be made a little bit easier. The Buck ban, I think, is going to focus on more maybe for the dining holds, because you need almost the entire floor open. If you don't get it all open, the defense, they're going to find a hiding space. They're going to find a hole where they cannot be detected, and they're going to wait there, Nitro in hand, to try to blow you sky high.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Valkyrie ban comes in as well. Now, that Goyo ban, it's simply just shutting down not only the C4 and the Vector, or Kector, depending on how you want to pronounce it, but it also takes away the potential of these very little hiding cams that you're going to have to try and deal with. They give away that information. You don't necessarily know that they are there unless you bring an IQ. And as soon as Echo stopped really being one of those mainstay defensive lineup operators, well, IQ, she's seen a bit of a drop in that pick. You're seeing IQ, Ashe and Zafir, maybe Ashe, Zafir, and Yana, they're filling in those roles a lot more. So when Ashe isn't that prevalent, a Valkyrie ban definitely rises up, because now you can't deal with them as easily because you don't bring that direct counter. So now if you ban it away, at least with a pulse, you know, and when you kind of know that you go into that dining site, you have a good sense of, do we bring an IQ? Do we deal with a vertical play? How do we work around it? It offers a lot more comfort and decision-making for the attackers, which I definitely think serves their purpose.
One curious thing has got to be the Goyo ban. I wonder what effect that'll have here. Obviously, Goyo is very helpful when we're talking about the extensions, holding away from the site. It's always good to have a Vulcan shield that on the fly, you know, if the attackers are moving too quickly for your liking, detonate that shield, gives you sort of a moment of pause. You can fall back, you can go retreat to the objective itself. With that gone, the extension strategies are going to have to be either much more of a commit on behalf of defenders bringing deployable shields, which leaves you open. You don't have as many nitro cells, you don't have as many bulletproof cameras, or, you know, even simply barbed wire to stop that first line of the attackers as they step towards your objective. With that going on here, I think there could be something of a dichotomy here. Is the deployable shield going to be in every single defender lineup? Already we've got two, likely from the smoke in the frost. Emergence not wanting to go away from that shield setup.
Yeah, now, big thing I do want to draw attention to right now is when you look at these attacker bans, and, well, two normally banned now operators are going to be making an appearance on the Synthetic lineup. Now, Nomad, she's going to be brought to the front, as will Habana. Now, Habana and Ace, they really see a lot of bans on this map, and I think it comes down to exactly what we said about the Buck ban. A lot of this map is vertical play, which is why you want to use those ranged hard breaches. Otherwise, if you have to bring a Thermite, or a Maverick, you have to get in deep into what can be turned into a kill box. You expose yourself to C4s, to a lot of utility and quite dangerous situations, let's be honest. We are not going to be heading to Aviator or Statue Go. We are going to be heading to Dining, and the Pulse will quite noticeably on the board. They're bringing the shields and the frost. I think there's a lot of merit in how this is being made, especially with the smoke and not on mute as well. You're looking at that secondary shock and the frost do a lot of work. Also, a lot of this is going to come down to that top floor hold. We're expecting Rai and Cool to really step it up and just sit in that trophy area and really get going. Now, Stick, I've got a confession to make, honestly. Just 10 minutes ago or so, a team that I was watching in the UK Internationals, UK and Ireland Nationals, they've just won, and I'm feeling quite a bit of passion. So I'm very excited getting into this game. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I'm loving this vertical setup that we're seeing in that trophy statue area.
And we'll see if the passion on your behalf carries across both of these two teams as we get underway with the first round. Something that might be a little bit confusing for viewers at home. Synthetic are not playing with one of their usual starters, Agera, curiously absent. Stepping in will be Praco, one-time teammate of Poison way back on the DVX days, and you can see that. Obviously, by his team tag, still in the name, still rocking it. DVX was an incredible team for a really long time. I imagine the chemistry there going to help bolster things, but still need to remember that playing with the sub does impact your ability to coordinate, especially when we're looking at the chemistry side of things for offense, and simply knowing what strategies Synthetic want to bring here. You might just not be prepared for them. You might not have a full understanding of what Synthetic's playbook looks like on the Villoff defense.
Yes, now the open floor plan for Emergence seems to be going quite well because Synthetic, there's about a minute 15 taken off the board and they're still struggling to really get inside, whether it's the case of knowing that this pulse is on the board or knowing that these lines of sight are being held, which they quite obviously are now. The top floor will be taking control of with half the round remaining, and information is going to be going to Son of Finn. That C4 can give away just the knowledge. You don't necessarily need to use the C4, but now that Synthetic have that top floor control, Pulse has just got a lot more stronger. Just holding time, wasting that time, and most importantly, not peeking the attackers on the top floor. That's a really important decision to have. C4s will go off. That's your main tool to deny the enemy at this point, but it looks like Synthetic, they're positioning themselves for an execute. Not a single kill in the lobby so far. I think this means only one thing. As we do approach 1 minute left on the clock, there's going to be a very explosive attack, and the way that Emergence have set their defense up is to collapse and maybe be ready for a retake. As this Yana Gemini goes through and actually spots that this entire site is currently clear. That means Max is going to start moving through. The drone is going to lead the way. And now you're going to be looking for this opening kill. If you get it, you can really start to open things up in favor of you. And that's Son of Finn going to be taken away. Max looking for this collapse onto site. Is going to be able to find talent. Is the refrag going to happen? No, it's not. The push comes through from the Jaeger. Will be taken away. Cool gets downed as well. And Jax is going to land a shot, but will trade and downs the teammate to get the kill. Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack here. What happened?
That was just a loose, flexible strategy, a loose hold on the site. Emergence had no grasp to stop Synthetic when they made that first punch in, and so I think the round was nearly lost when Memorial control was in the favor of the attackers. They had every entry point covered. That gave them a huge window of time to go for the plant. It, guaranteed there was security for the planter. There was no issue coming up from laundry from a flank because the pulse went down and because Maxilli just never stopped shooting. Every defender that ran into his bullets died. Synthetic to come up with a round that looked shaky through the mid phase, but was cleaned up excellently, really approaching flawless round territory there, minus the team kill and kind of that whole kerfuffle that happened inside of Tetris. Round one for Synthetic on the offense. Emergence not able to get much done, playing for their middle floor tertiary hold.
Now, what we saw from that was Synthetic, they were able to get map control, they were able to get information and position themselves for push without taking a single gunfight until that execute came through. The question is, are they going to be able to keep this up? A very nice position for themselves, only losing that one player that was free with the trade with Jax. Big thing for me, though, is now that Emergence from that Aviator Games are going to see a much more typical round play out, I think. I don't think Synthetic really expected to go to that kitchen dining, but they adapted well. That's something they're going to need to keep up. Emergence, though, well, the default strat, the default setup, that's going to play in for a reason. The default stuff works 9 times out of 10. Or at least it's a good baseline to really strat. But Synthetic, they're going to be looking towards the study area, want to open things up and look for a push. Nomad air jabs will be used, and the same lineup will actually be brought out by Synthetic, hinting that maybe they didn't expect that last bomb site. Regardless, though, this push, it's going to be exciting, and I think Emergence, they've got a lot to offer.
There we go for the soft breaching equipment already. Your top study shield has been cleared. Freak making quick work, destroying that position, forcing Emergence defenders to play a little bit back, to recoil to the walls of the objective. A little bit of vertical presence down below here in the library as well, piano. Now the focus will change. What is ongoing here at the top of the study stairs, despite the fact that managed to dispatch the shield. This hasn't really weakened the grasp that we see here. Frag is sent up. That'll force Chax out of position just into the waiting arms of Poison. Great dual play there by Sin. Another reinforcement to go down as well. 90 control firmly in the hands of the Synthetic offense now as they do an expert job getting rid of Chax and any defenders trying to hold out at the top of the staircase.
Yes, now, ability will be used. It will be able to get the escape clause, and in doing so, we're going to see that study start to open up thanks to Poison. The Yana Gemini will move into that 90 and look to get the information, realizing, okay, this game side, it's rather undefended because these Banshees haven't gone off, meaning the defenders, well, they look towards it a little bit too late. The call's been made, and now we're seeing Max just walk in. He has the potential to really upset Emergence here. Moves forward, is able to spot that smoke. Will be able to find one kill, gets another. Emergence, where are you looking? Looks for a third, but Rai Zeta just get that kill, but needs to find quite a few more. Freak is quick to seize upon this opportunity and will take the kill, as will Broco, shutting things down. Synthetic, another comfortable round, and it really makes you think. You just shot a Gemini coming from that game store. Why did you look away? Because then the Ayana just walked in, walked behind, caught two of you not looking, and then at that point it was just Synthetic collapsing. Too many angles to watch. You'd already lost from the moment Yana walked in.
That's twice now, where Max just spots an opening in the objective, an area where there's no intel coverage. Kind of just sneaks in behind the lines of the defense, finds a whole mountain of them, and just pulls the trigger. Almost getting two back-to-back 3Ks. Smoke inside Aviator was able to hold on, but it didn't give his team much merit. I think the defense already had pretty much capitulated from that point onward. Synthetic looking prepared here for Villa. Strong showing in the rounds that we see accumulated. Everyone more than two on the attack. That's kind of a bonus here. So for Synthetic to have such a strong start, Emergence almost sort of floundering here.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Max has done a really stand-up job moving forward of finding these opportunities, like you said. And I do have one important question to ask, Stick. I know it's a little bit off topic, you know, Caster, what do you think you're doing? But I want to ask how I sound. I sound crisp and better than normal.
Yeah, I wonder if that's maybe due to, in part, Pete giving you a bit of a care package.
Well, as you might have seen on my Twitter, Stick, I got picked up for You Can Div 2 for Season 3 of it, and people just got drunk and decided to send me a whole new upgrade. And I feel guilty, but I'm not saying no. And I'm glad that I can deliver this action in much crisper quality as we do a look at moving forward and actually getting into this game. Now, some things that I took a little bit of time to flex, I know, but we need to point out is there's not that much of a widespread roam on this top floor for Emergence. They've gone down below. And then that suddenly makes me think, okay, you don't have the Pulse, but you do have a couple players with C4s. You do have a couple players like this Jaeger, like this Malusi yet again, who you really have an opportunity to do something with on this flank. The big question is, how are they going to capitalize upon this? That Nomad, it's been a constant fixture of Synthetic. So what workaround does Emergence have? Is there anything in the plan, or are they just saying, let's try something that hasn't worked? They might be looking for that vertical play down below, but with the buck being banned, my big question is, what's the main point? If there's an IQ, you'll start to know very early on a breach should get opened up. Regardless, that's enough theory crafting. Jones will be able to spot out Talon. Talon will be looking for the C4. The positioning's nice, but doesn't activate it in time. Freak will get away and just clears a couple of C4s off the board.
Oh, Max, another solid entry. This time, Cool almost able to force him back. No multi-kill spree off the rip. Max will send in a replicator as well, hoping to find some intel. Rai taken low and popped through the wall by Proco. Synthetic, another strong start here, but one lines up for Son of Finn. There's a second collected by Chax. Meanwhile, Emergence having their first sign of life here on Villa, able to keep the man count at even odds. Two smoke canisters still in pocket. Synthetic forced off balance and slowed in a way that hasn't happened yet. The one problem here for Synthetic especially, Max is on low HP. He's so weak. Poison beginning to test the angle, I think unaware that there's a player hiding behind the box inside Astro. Unsuccessful play to clear any of the Electro Claws here on the triple wall is going to stall Poison's progress, having additionally a Melosi Banshee to stop if he wants to try to walk in from the concrete door. Croco still has 2 nades. Max, meanwhile, has used both of his. I think one has actually broken the Banshee close at Poison's position. That'll allow a little bit of an easier entry time. And the Iana's Replicator getting a bit of intel at the last moment here as the round begins to wind down. Max thinking about his entry, how he's going to make his way into the site.
3v3, it has potential, but Max is going to start moving in. A very nice distraction as Poison goes in and capitalizes upon this attention being diverted. But will be taken down. We just see Son of Finn and Talon really clean up. An Emergence, signs of life, emerging out the dark, and able to find their first round on the board. Very nice from them. I really like that round. I think that vertical play towards the start was lacking a bit, because you saw that C4 Talon waited a bit too long, and then we just saw the Ashe run forward. However, when it came to locking down the site, very nicely done. Son of Finn able to find quite a few impact frags in that last round there for me. So I say, yeah, that was a key part of the defense. Able to hold their angles, able to be careful, play it safe. Even when we saw Max trying to distract one of the players, and then Poison ran in and got the kill, we saw somebody ready to deal with it and refrag. Very nicely done from them. Emergence, that was a good round, but I need to see more of this. I want to see this be a bit more consistently, especially as we return to Aviator games. And I think, you know what I'm going to say, Stick? I want to see them having that little bit more situational awareness. It's something that was lacking quite a bit the last time they were here, as evidenced by Maxi's KD. But when you look at Trophy Statue, it's one of those more linear maps. They're either pushing from Master, they're pushing from that landing area, or they're going for an Astro Rush. There's only really main way of attack that the attackers have open to them. So the defenders, it's a really good opportunity for them to look at that position and start shutting it down at that in reality. Aviator Games doesn't have that luxury, does it?
No, not particularly. And one thing you might have saw in the previous round, I don't know what happened to Poison. When he tried to approach for the close plant, it was almost like he felt uncomfortable, or maybe he didn't have the option to plant. I'm not sure why. There was no lesion in play. He didn't have a goo mine in his ankle. Something prevented him from planting, and I think that made Synthetic a little bit more uncomfortable than they were prepared to deal with. Perhaps if they had played that from a, 3 guns in the fight style of Siege, it would have worked out better because Emergence were in the disadvantage, and Synthetic made a smart play with the distraction that you noted to allow Poison time to swing when the call-out was made, and he collected the player holding close at the triple wall. Perhaps a question for the interview if we get to speak to Poison and what exactly had gone down there. This round going forward, bit of a loose hold offside. It won't work out as cool as Feld immediately. I'm not sure what he was even looking at, but the distraction is enough to get him killed. So far, cool, quiet here in the Italian Villa. 0-4 on the match.
Yeah, very nice. Right, though, it's going to start off with a kill. Croco got to get down, and right now, Emergence, they seem to have woken up in a big way. 2 kills, the Son of Finn's able to take away that smoke after that rush came through, and right now, we're seeing Maxi finding an answer. Freak able to find another one as Maxi gets a second. Now it's all down to Talon. He's playing in that far area. 1:44 on the clock, though. Flashbangs, they're flying through. Your shots are going to have to ring fast and ring true, but Freak is just there to shoot a little bit better. Synthetic, a very aggressive round. They lost a lot of early momentum, but kept on chugging. They were able to find those kills. They were able to find a position. And as soon as they got 1 kill, it just compounded into 2, into 3, into 4. And Emergence, they need another round. A 3-3 split available at best.
Well, that round begins. Cool falls for the vertical play inside of Living Room. And then in transition, Emergence get a bunch of really important picks. I look down at my notes to write the opening engagement, and then Sin have just miraculously pulled that one back. It's that mid-round adaptation, knowing, when you're struggling, to be able to just rip the aggression dial off, to fly in instantly, capitalizing. That's going to give you a lot of leverage, a lot of work room here on Villa, putting Synthetic at 3-1. Opening up their lead at a 2-round margin, looking to secure another one here. We'll go back to the middle floor hold. This defense of kitchen and dining. Last time we went here, I feel like Emergence were too weak, too passive. They did not take any strong point gunfights, and that cost them dearly, simply because Max played the game of swing or be swung.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be honest. In that last round, we saw a little bit of the lesser-known caster curse of you look away for a second to take 1 note, Suddenly the round's over, and it's exciting to see sometimes now that 20-second meta's gone, you can see those rushes. But big issues for Emergence on this site in the first round. They didn't have any of those power positions. They didn't have on that A-bomb chassis. They didn't have that top right of that B-bomb site. They just kind of let Synthetic take the top wall very early on, and that's what I said was a big issue. Rai and Cool, they needed to hold that top wall that little bit stronger. They're going to be trying to do that over towards that Aviator Games area, and there's a lot of merit, but also a lot of risk. If you lose out on this position, suddenly Synthetic, they're going to be going over towards that trophy statue very comfortably. That's why we're seeing Emergence pull back very quickly. They realize that the risk is here and that they need to hold this position instead of Aviator Games. On the flip side, though, Synthetic, they're going to start moving through, get the drone work through now that these defenders have pulled back. Cool Shiesty, he's going to be watching the flank. McShundo becomes through that fight, but also has a C4. Also has the potential to really shut things down as Rai will drop to join them.
Seems we've hit that point again here in the round where Emergence recognize more of reward to be gained by falling off from the top floor. Sonafin playing a little bit eager there at the bottom of the Astro stairs. You can hear the UMP begin to fire off. They'll move to play for the cardiac sensor, waiting near the music machine. Meanwhile, Emergence, a little bit of a stronger hold for them horizontally this time. But we noted, if Synthetic move in, sometimes a chance one-on-one gunfight that goes their way can quickly spiral out of control. They need to be prepared for that. They need to know when it's time to play in the objective, and when maybe there is something a little bit more to gain by holding away from the site. Right now, I think Emergence kind of need to suss out what is going to happen from the vertical play. Is Son of Finn will pick off Max Illy, surprising that the UMP will win that gunfight for the success that Max has had so far this game. But Son of Finn does not get away scot-free as he tries to still teeter around here, but worried about the vertical play from up above, getting attacked from a variety of different angles, but threading the needle as he'll tear the head away from Proco. Synthetic in a large disadvantage here, needing a playmaker. That'll be Freak as he pours through the laundry door to tear away the head of Son of Finn. Mo nearly spotting a target, the smoke from below, and he'll get it to shut this down. Synthetic wrench their way back into an equal spot, but another kill goes their way as Mo is not ready to stop. And Emergence, they get 2 kills to start this off, but nothing in transition through the mid-round. 25 seconds remain. Synthetic getting ready to bear down with their full weight on the objective.
Yes, this is going to be absolutely huge. Synthetic, they have that player advantage, and they don't anymore. As Talon's able to find the head of Freak, you've just taken away that Ash. You've just taken away that playmaker who found that kill. Suddenly Cool is taking some damage, but you play it safe. You wait. You have Talon waiting in the wings. Mo's able to find 1 kill, but Talon's going to get the second and gets poison as well. Emergence, they're able to pick up that round in the blink of an eye on a hair's breadth. The words escaped me, but the aim did not escape Talon. Able to find that beautiful moment as soon as Mo got that first kill, immediately swinging and playing for the refrag, and then immediately compounding upon that, gets and puts the pressure on Poison. As soon as the pressure's put onto Poison, they want to come off that plant. They realize the gunfight's there. You have to stick it, otherwise you lose out on time. But if you stay on there, you're going to die anyway. Realistically, very nicely played from Emergence. They locked it down at the crunch time, the moment they needed it. And this is a very important crossroads now. The 3-3 split is all but guaranteed as long as Emergence stay on this track. But something I want to talk about, if they do win this, there's something a lot bigger at play. Momentum. They have the ability to take momentum from Synthetic. Synthetic had a very strong start. Now they seem to be faltering just a little bit. Emergence can capitalize upon this and get a very confident round going into attack. Aggression has seen this map go a little bit more balanced, and honestly, sometimes go attack a favored. If you have a confident enough team that are coordinated and ready to push through, then like you said, Synthetic, will they be ready to deal with that on their defense? Do they have that coordination that we hinted at might not be there at this point? These are the big questions for me, Sicular. We're going to have to wait a little bit of time to find them out, but we can at least watch Emergence on Trophy Statue, looking to equalize at the half.
To attempt a bit of a vertical hold as well. There are reinforcements to lock off the Laundry Avenue and a barricade as well. Synthetic don't seem like they're really ready to interact with Dining and Kitchen as they're going to put their full force into an immediate study execute. Talon to play close at the war table. Freak now challenging in towards the stairs. Seems like not an immediate contest. Emergence going to play this a little bit more safe, not immediately taking those gun battles, just holding off at the ready, trying to wait and hope that Synthetic make that first slip up. Seems like control of the south side of the map on the second floor has been earned so far. But Talon, he's looking to contest in a way that hasn't been done quite yet. Nitro, a little bit off spot, so detonate it. Manages to still get Max. That's such an important kill. Shutting down Max, removing a set of the frag grenades, and such a power player. Synthetic not ready for the Nitro to come in from below, but a little bit of intel. They found out the Talon is still lurking away from the site, but here comes Rai. Seems like a bit of lack of the air jabs. Maybe Mo not in position yet to deploy them. That's going to open up a huge weakness, a gaping hole in the lines of the Synthetic attack.
Yes, now that big weakness. Synthetic? Nomad, Max, the player that finds the weakness, and the player that is meant to cover your own. Trophy Statue, this is where we've really seen Emergence start to excel and really get into the swing of things because, like I said, they're able to just adjust the full weight of their defense to focus on these pressure positions, which Freak is going to make himself very, very well position. Now, Poison is in that massive bedroom, a crossfire is there, and the main wall can get opened up, but look at that secondary gadget lineup. Walk checks around, you can go for the impact. The big problem is going to be that landing door. If you can get somebody watching it, at least you should be fine. You just go see another K go on that wall. Havana pellets will go off, and 75 damage will be left for Poison. But 50 seconds. Time is ticking, and a death by 1,000 paper cuts, as Whippet likes to say in Stick. I think that's going to be what we see here. Time, utility that they're going to have to go through, and just going through sheer choke points. That's what Emergence are going to capitalize upon, because this is the position Synthetic are in. They have lines of sight, and they have to make an entrance. The plant is starting to go down, and the crossfire is there. Freak's able to find a kill, but Synthetic, they don't have the players to waste. Talon's gonna go down, but Ryrai's able to find Poison, and oh, Freak, that's a beautiful shot, but is it enough? The plant has gone down in a 3 versus 2. A 2 versus 2 if you count out Talon, but right now, anything helps. Sonofin's able to find out Ash, and suddenly a 3-2 versus 1. It's all down to Brocco. You pull back, you played it safe, because you realized you just need to play for the refrag now. 20 seconds left on the clock. Time, so something they're gonna have to come through. Brocco realizes it, but gets down by Ryrai. Emergence get a 3-3 split, and some much needed momentum going into their attacking half.
Finally, something to bolster their performance, an even playing field, and a fresh start. Now as we'll see what they have to bring on the attacks. I think that round really starting to speed up simply off the back of Emergence knowing that they can take the fight to Synthetic, not waiting for Sin to strike the first blow, holding off, swinging together, working as teammates, and trying to play for that trade game. A bit of a different Emergence there to close out the defenses than we saw at the start of this game. Gonna bring a full breadth of intel here, both Zero and Iana in round number 7. Synthetic, their first defense, this is gonna be a big telling point. Is Brocco prepared to work within the bounds of Synthetic's playbook?
I'm very excited for this. Emergence, they woke up a little bit. It took a couple of rounds, but they're able to find opportunities. They're able to really look down on the weaknesses. Synthetic, they've been the team that they will prod and find a weakness. They take control of it. Emergence have just decided to tighten everything up, really just up their game and make sure that there was nothing for them to take control of and put the pressure through. Synthetic on the defense, though, this is quite interesting. I can't predict it as we do go into this half, because Emergence, they're going in with momentum. They're going in, they're playing a much stronger game than we saw in the first couple of rounds. But Synthetic have that added bonus of defense. They have the mirror, and as you can see, this study wall, it's going to be manipulated to give them a couple of lines of sight that are just painful, to be honest. Because you look at this wall right here, they're not going for the setup I typically expect. I think they're going for more of a games hold. But I do quite like seeing the actual Aviator wall open up partially. You tend to see the Habana pellets making that rotate. And that's where you put a little window. In doing so, you have eyes onto that zombie door, onto the study door as well. And you can just shut so many things down. That's not going to be the case, though. Check's going to find that opening kill for Emergence. And they are going to start their attack very, very strongly.
It's twice now. We'll see Max just get shut down with nothing to bring to his bear. So far, kind of an all-or-nothing player, unfortunately, it must be said. Emergence have wasted no time. Moving in quickly, it seems like they had full intel to know that there was no study or statue or master side extension. It's all been left clear for Synthetic, who are going to play for the execute at Aviator with a hold inside. Plenty of mirror windows. Emergence, the fact that they move so quickly here, that's going to be a pretty decent benefit to them. Allows them to negotiate more of the hard breaching process. Chax has got some frags. He can hopefully open the hunting vault wall. If that happens, the two mirror windows here in the middle of bar, it's not going to be as useful as they were here at the start of the round when things were just on paper. All right, they could really be forfeit, and that could cause a huge issue. Synthetic's defense could crumble completely just because of that. And Chax will find an important frag because he shuts down Freak both. With Maxilli gone now, you've shut down the key playmakers for the Synthetic defenses. It looks like their hold here in Aviator grows weaker and weaker by the second.
Yeah, now Emergence, they're really doing what you said. They're just getting stronger and stronger. Mo will have to go for that aggression, be able to find a kill onto Synthetic, but Emergence, they still hold a lot of the cards, a lot of the map control. You're looking at Proco trying to get something, but Talon and Son of Finn, they're right there to deal with it. Mo's able to find two, though. Now we're in a 2 versus 2, but it's constantly Synthetic playing catch up. Emergence, the momentum's in their favor. They have time to work with, and utility. They have still got 2 of those cameras left. The sledgehammer's there. It's not too hot, but there is a couple of drones. There's a lot of information available on the board, but on the flip side, that C4 rip, it's going to get hurt. Right. Decides to get aggressive instead. Runs through the rotate, finds a kill onto Mo, and now it's all down to Poison. The SMG-11 going to have to shut down that plant. It will do that, as Rai will feel the burn of that toxic cloud. The down and the kill comes through in a 1 versus 1 situation with 20 seconds left. Now, Cool Shicey knows exactly where Poison is, and the last canister will go off. The pre-fire doesn't land the shots it needs to, and right now, Cool Shicey knows they need to push. Goes through that rotate and is able to get the swing and gets the kill. Emergence, they got the first and the last kill. It got a little shaky in the middle, but they got exactly where they needed to go. Very nicely played from them, and they set everything up at a time where they were able to just capitalize upon everything. They still had time to clutch out a round stick, and you gotta think about it as something that the devs are doing right with these changes, because 5 months ago, that wouldn't happen. The round would be over as soon as we lost a couple of players. But taking nothing away from Emergence, they played very nicely. Incredible game sense from Cool Shicey and aim as well, because not only did you sprint through there and have the state of mind to go behind him, Poison turned around. You're just able to land the gunfight. Emergence are seemingly going from strength to strength. They've really started to wake up. And the question is, are Synthetic going to be able to break this momentum?
All task laid out ahead of them. It seems like Emergence have found their stride in how to play on Villa, and Sin are kind of reeling. I wonder if maybe not repeating the strategy, instead opting for something more towards a horizontal extension to slow down Emergence, because the entire strategy there banked on taking early control of statue and of trophy. When that happened, Synthetic had one person over there, and he was still kind of slow in the setup. I think he was trying to get in position, but Emergence moved much faster than Max had anticipated. That kind of speed is going to give you a lot of working room. What did we have earlier in the game? Synthetic moved fast, and they took no prisoners. That gave them a huge lead starting off on their attacks, but so far has not materialized in the later stages of this game. One Synthetic defender, a little bit offsides, but Emergence have swapped from their attack footing. No more are we going to see that master bedroom take this time. More of a focus on earning control of the middle floor directly below the objective.
They're using this Yana drone yet again to just get a ton of information. That's all that Chax is for, realistically, when you look at that primary gadget, because, yeah, you have 2 drones, so you can use them, but why would you? This is a Gemini drone that you can go in. It, yeah, gives away some that the Yana's nearby, but if you have somebody covering you, it's a great way to get information, and it's renewable. It comes back every now and then, unlike the drones, which if they get shot once, they're done. And I mean, I know I feel like I'm explaining something very simple, but it's a lot of free information if you decide to use it. As soon as you come down to the crunch time and you don't have time to go to Gemini, or you need to get aggressive, that's when you want to go for the drone. Talon, though, is going to take a little bit of damage. I think it's from this vertical play. And this is where Synthetic are really going to sort them out. They have control of these staircases. And if you look at it, you've got 2 players on main. You have a player on red and a player towards the top of the landing area. And right now, of course, Shiesty able to find a kill onto Freak. Just to really open things up.
Well, it won't stop even yet as now Sonafin catches Poison. Not sure what he was doing there, but caught and exposed. Mo for the trade. Spawning out 2 below, but unable to secure the kills fighting on the vertical game. Troubling here for Mo. Gonna readjust, still waiting, trying to hold back the attackers. Make sure that they can't take firm control at the top study staircase, but Mo's gone. DBNO fighting the vertical. You see the lifeline sent by Talon, hoping for the confirm, but it's just not there. Mo rezzed back up into the fight as see the reinforcement go down, and Mo to pop one of his windows. A little bit of an opening created. This defense really going to come down to the wire, and they'll have to be off the back of one playmaker again for either of these teams to secure it. Still more utility blocking the progress. Another window for the bar. Could provide something to shut down Talon, but meanwhile, Sonafin catches Max, who had no business peeking out of that game's door. He's going to suffer as a result, and that suffering won't stop now. Rai to pick off Proco, just Mo left. So little HP against the full strength of Emergence, and he's baited into the arms of Cool. Emergence, their momentum, it's not stopping anytime soon.
I feel like Synthetic, there's a couple of decisions taking place that shouldn't happen. First of all, I know it's very critical on Mo, and the round was lost before that, but why are you sprinting that, and why are you peeking that? 2 main things. You're holding that position. I know when you're backed into a corner in a 1vx scenario, you've got to pounce. You've got to get aggressive and find some kills, but why aren't you aiming? Why are you peeking that? You know there's no pressure at the moment, yet if they're baiting it, that's fine. If that you hear somebody try and get on drones, okay, that's fine, but you're still sprinting around the corner. That's a big thing for me. Now, Synthetic, I think a part of their struggle on this defense is when they're on the attack, they found weak points. They exploited them. It's a lot harder to do that on the defense. You have to be the one tightening up these hatches, making sure you're not giving the attackers that position. Simply put, Stickler, Synthetic, they won the first couple of rounds mainly by taking advantage of weak points, applying way much pressure than was needed to make it collapse, and then they take control of it that way. They simply can't do that on the defense. They can't get aggressive and start pushing through a weak line of the attack because they risk giving up a lot more than they stand to gain. Emergence, though, they've tightened up their game. They're playing together. We're seeing refrags, comfortable uses of utility. We're not really seeing that much utility getting wasted or just not used. I'm feeling like Emergence, though, look at the stronger team so far. And Trophy Statue. It's the first round they won on their defense. Can they win it on attack? I'm looking forward to seeing this. Synthetic, they've got more of that horizontal roam that I noticed Emergence didn't have. The question is if they're going to clear it or if they're going to read into this and want to go more towards Trophy Statue.
I think Synthetic right now really needs somebody to step up and to be that key player that holds the line. Earlier in the game, it was mainly Max and a few contributions from Freak, but so far, there hasn't been one standout player that's really turning the tide. Max has had far too many opening deaths. He's been cut down early, and he's not been able to line up some of the multi-kills that we saw him get with Iana for Mohesi. He's almost not always in position to get the picks. Got a double roam down in the basement. This is a bit of a rare sight. Not often do you see members, defense or attack, traverse the basement. Talon for the breaching charge will open up. Bit of a scare for Mo. Ready at the transition to try to go forward. Nomad hops on her drone, immediately spotted. This should be a free kill or at least control for Emergence to force back Mo. But 2 members of Synthetic flexing closer and closer towards this setup as you've got a bit of a hold horizontally here, still trying to contest this.
Yes, no. Freak realizes that there's somebody on that window. Shockingly enough, it was shot open. It'd be quite weird to assume there wasn't somebody there. Now, Maxley, this is a huge opportunity. If you see the Zephyr push, which you don't, you're going to want to get aggressive. Now, I talked about how we didn't see many weak points they could exploit. This is an opportunity, and Maxley, yet again, is going to take it. Will be able to do damage to Nomad, but doesn't land the killing blow. That's just going to be an investment for that end round. Now we're going to see the Zephyr wanting to get aggressive, though. Rocco is able to find a kill onto Bryrice, Son of Finn and Cool will answer with 2, but Max is able to get Talon. Now, Freak, looking at this Astro window, wants to get the kill. He's still got Cool. Like I said, that investment, it's there. It's waiting to be cashed in. Because Cool's on such low HP, they're not going to be wanting to take these gunfights. Maxley back on the top floor wants to get aggressive, knowing that there's a Nomad on the board, is very careful about pushing through. But most importantly, realizes the tentative situation the defense are in. One mistake can end it. One incredible play can make it, and there it is! Max goes to the push, it finds 2 for 1. Now he's going to be looking for Son of Finn as well, but now he's trapped in that master bedroom. The swing comes out, and there it is! Synthetic are able to break the momentum, but only for 1 round. Maxley, a huge play to bring things into it.
That's exactly what you needed. You need somebody to step up, and it's Max who will electrify the Synthetic defense as he goes crazy. Moving this one back, Emergence still hold on to a narrow 1-round lead for this first regular season showing. Dining room and kitchen again. Synthetic going to the tertiary side. It's been a mixed bag so far. Win for the attack and a win for the defense back during the first half. Sin need to show that they're ready for this. Poison, yeah. Poison, I don't think he's really going to be playing for the Jaeger, but that does leave a bit of a weak point. We haven't seen rounds where Emergence are lacking in the frag grenades department, and so not having a Wamai or a Jaeger does leave you quite vulnerable, especially on a site where there's always an avenue for a frag grenade to drop through the roof.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice way to approach Villa in general. Not just frag grenades to the roofs, it's just frag grenades. There's so many beautiful angles you can get. Well, this is quite interesting. You know, I'm excited to see this because you look at this, they're looking to get this to the floor. No, me neither. It's making me quite interested. They'll look to get this laundry area, and a lot of teams, they'll get that vertical control, they get the denial, and things open up.
Oh.
But, what they're
there we go.
Chax is going to spot it, though. Unless he turns around. If he doesn't turn around, he's not going to spot it. That's a... Oh, no. They've spotted one on Pantry. They've realized that right now, Emergence, if they go down below, they can catch a utility. They rotate up, take the top floor. This can be solved very, very quickly, but it's going to take that little bit of time. And if Synthetic do come in to play it out, holding it could be quite a costly adventure, especially if you see Maxley, someone who has just had incredible game sets so far. It's just been able to find their team opportunity after opportunity. Now, the Gemini will start moving through and will be looking to find the up-to-date position of this Cade. They'll notice it's over towards that triple wall still. So they can start moving through. The C4 comes through, and oh, right, just a little smack in the face with the C4. Will be taking away the sledge. And with the Buck Band stick, what does that mean?
Yeah, no more vertical play, and Freak, he's looking to double down. Inside the master bedroom, very little pressure firm, but he'll get DBNO'd from the Nomad outside the window. Good play there by Cool. Trades out the death of his teammate, but given the fact that your sledge has died so early, that could be troubling here. 2 players down across the board. Proco, nobody really there to revive him, as that Nitro could have been crucial. Proco finished off before he has a chance to detonate it. The Nitro now removed as well as explosives continue to pepper the map. Time is getting lower, nearly 90 seconds. Chax and Cool are on significantly low HP, but still have guns and utility in the fight. Max has been tagged up playing by Trophy. It seems as the vertical hold becomes more and more pressured. Synthetic not looking to hold on to it for any much longer. Max for the rotate. He's going to come in from the main stair side of things. There is not a whole lot of time for him to make this play. He has got to move quickly if he's going to be the one to change things. But the fact that the sledge has died so early on is forcing Talon into quite an uncomfortable position. He's forced to use the breaching charges to negotiate the vertical control, and that's a real risky spot for Mo. Doesn't exactly have very much leverage to be peeking that corner, and Talon now with the lifeline to open the vertical up above. Max's progress has been stalled, and air jab waiting on the top of the board double door is going to force him to play this one a little bit more carefully. His only option is really to come in from statue, but for all we know, that could be air jabbed off as well. So Max's options in this round are very slim, and the time that he has left is even lower. Depending on how he approaches this, his team could fall that could leave the site open, isolated, and quite weak to an immediate push, but Max has found his way through. He gets cool. Looks like there was maybe a drone there to give a last-second intel. The ERC-7 will stop that from mattering. The drop from the hatch. Emergence are going to give up any hope of trying to stop the player from above. Mo waits close here through the wall. First will approach. United gets one onto the Zoe, but Son of Finn, he's not going to be able to pull it through his poison with two very important picks to close out that round and the Nitro to kick it off. Synthetic for 2 in a row now. They tie us up at 5-5.
I've been thinking, Stick. It's a dangerous thing, I know. But I've been thinking. In the next season, we're going to see Flores starting to make an appearance into comp. And I was thinking there might be a little bit of a market for taking that soft breach role. Now, granted, there are a lot of problems with this, but I'm thinking, okay, if you have these 4 drones, they don't do that much damage in radius, but if you can get them in the concentrated spots where you need to have vertical play, think maybe your coastline kitchen, where there's 1 or 2 spots that you need that vertical play, you've just lost your sledge or your buck, but you have a Flores on the board. Well, suddenly you can use that utility, and you still have your Ash or Zephyrs with the ability to clear out Banshees or Evil Eyes. Now, very off topic, but I was just thinking, maybe there's an opportunity there, because a lot of the time that I've at least tried to use Flores, I found it gets shot. Finding kills is very difficult with it, so I don't really bother. I just go for utility. But I've been thinking about maybe that soft breach role, because that's something, the position we saw Emergence in. Rai being taken down by that C4 going right through into their face. Suddenly, Emergence were left with a lot of options for the vertical play. That's where we saw them trying and having to commit a lot more utility from the other operators to try and get that vertical play in. That's when we saw Max able to get above it and take control. So, Emergence, that wasn't a great round from them, but it definitely, I don't think it was because they were losing it towards the end. I think a lot of the early work did a lot of damage. Now, even though Emergence on the attack, they're going to be heading to Aviator Games. They've won it before. Can they win it again? Whereas they're going to be going all together. Maxley, yet again, is going to be on this roam.
Oh boy.
Has been taken down before, but hey, hiding in that position. Oh, we're going to need to see if this gets thrown out. If it doesn't, well, this can be absolutely criminal. Oh, it won't. Jax is going to spot it, but isn't going to spot the player. You're not going to recognize what's happening, so suddenly Rai's moving in. Has no clue. Look at it. Max knows that one player's there. He's waiting for more. If you could get 1 kill and then turn around and find that sledge as well on your exit, that's going to be huge. There's Cool going to be taken away. Now the sledge is there for the refrag, but it's not going to be landing it. Max, you have had a beautiful moment after moment popping off. This one's going to be shut down, but you cannot look at a sledge and nomad kill with that kind of impact as a defeat at this point.
That is so tough. Just because you didn't drone the corner when the Iana ran through, she was ready for a rat play. She checked the tub, but not the corner at the shower. That's going to cause a huge problem. You've lost a set of flashbangs so crucial in the process of wasting the ADS, not to mention all air jabs that had not been deployed. With a set of frags gone as well, only Chax has them. You have to deal with Mo, who we've not even been able to see this round because of Max's star performance. He's got the Clash. In a man-up scenario, that's going to be a lot of frustration to deal with. Seems like the Electroclaw uncleared. Freak just swings the corner. For once, it's Synthetic. Their aggressive plays working out. The head of Son of Finn is taken away, but Freak traded out finally. The man advantage is still slightly closer, with Clash technically out of the fight. Oh, this is so much of a problem. Chax is dead. He's going to die to the Electro Shield. And now Talon has got to make a move. He only has 1 remaining lifeline. It's not going to do enough. This could be an easy confirmed Chax. He's waiting for someone to push aggro. Seems like Decade is thinking about filling that role. Chax still DBNO'd, and it's Proco to finish things off. Synthetic collect 3 in a row. They move up to match point after a struggling start of 2 rounds on Aviator.
Yeah, their defense, it really did struggle, but Max has done a lot of work to just keep them in it and give them momentum and opportunities to really start putting everything they have into it. And it's been going incredible for them at the moment. Now, you're looking at Max just able to constantly find highlight after highlight after highlight. Stick, honestly, if I was that man, there would be so many clips from this game alone going into a video. Now, granted, He's probably a lot better than me. I'm more than willing to admit that. But Max has just been a player that has been stand out there constantly, time and time again, going for these impact kills, going for the impact momentum. As soon as you find those 2 kills onto Rai and onto Cool Shiesty, well, suddenly that's the 3 versus 5 at the best at the 3 versus 5 at the best point. Yeah, they find a refrag. That's a 3 versus 4. You've taken away the sledge. You've taken away the nomad. A huge tool to get rid of this clash is taken away. And suddenly Synthetic, they realize this. And this is what I was talking about. He's not only finding impact kills, he's finding impact opportunities, if that makes sense. Because Synthetic realize they have got a significant disadvantage now. They're going to struggle to deal with utility and to cover their flanks. But they need to push 90. They're going to get the clash. That's going to get aggressive. As soon as Chax gets taken down, Talon, yeah, you still had a lifeline, but you wouldn't have been able to swap your weapon in time to actually do anything about it. Chax was down on the floor, and you're looking at this position where Synthetic, they're having just little things that keep them in it. But these little things have huge ramifications. Now, Trophy Sachi, yet again, this is where we saw Synthetic really kind of break that stride Emergence had on the attack, where they just said, okay, we're going to catch them off guard. We're going to find little things we can do that will we can just cash in later. And Max is yet again one of those players finding that downstairs presence, gets the damage off the pool. That leads into one swing, finding 2 kills in one burst of gunfire.
And I kind of want to just quickly underscore that point even more so. The final player that Max engaged with, when he almost got a triple kill there, was the one who eventually went on to be downed by the clash. So you can really see his impact across the entire span of the round. You mentioned last time we saw this site, it was really when Synthetic tightened their belt and finally figured out what was necessary to win. It was a roam in every description across the entirety of the middle floor, really waiting for Emergence to make that first step and to try and confront it. Max is holding from below, kind of waiting to see if Emergence members are going to step out of their comfort zone, try to go down here and look for the roam. Seems like maybe an air jab had been set up. Freak, has he managed to sneak behind the lines? Oh, he'll get one, the Zofia, to go down. Nearly for the second is the Malusi, proving to be so troublesome. Huge Nitro launched out, nearly takes Chax. Ring around the Rosie in Tetris, but unable to thread the needle. There goes Max for the trade, looking to get the second. Synthetic equal 3-on-3 at this round. A huge conflict there inside Tetris. Meanwhile, Rai appears in the middle of the objective to collect Mo, but the trade is there at the ready. Emergence have to work together here, otherwise this could be a disaster and a regulation win for Sin.
Yeah, Synthetic 2 versus 2, this is the opportunity. This is that game to win, realistically. You have Max, the player you want on your team in one of these situations, as well as Proco. Proco wants to get aggressive, realizing that if he dies, Max can really bring some pain and bring some hurt. So he's going to be holding this angle, not too aggressively, but enough to really make Emergence worrisome. Utility will start to go through. Smoke grenades will be able to block off some line of sight, but that's going to be Proco getting aggressive, finding the kill, and the diffuser, the push comes through. Proco gets down, and Smoke's going to do wonders. Oh, that's Max taken away. Cool's able to step up huge to get a win for Emergence, but we still have overtime to go, Stick. This is not one yet for either team. It's tit for tat at this moment, and I'm very, very excited to get moving. Overtime, Emergence, they're going to stick on that attack. We're not going to see that switch, and I think this is where they might actually have an advantage. This is where they were able to find rounds early on in this half, but they need to break the momentum of Synthetic. They need to tighten up the drones, like I said. At the very start on the defense, there were weak points that Synthetic found and opened and just tore apart. Think about a little hole in your jeans, Stick, right? And they're an old pair of jeans you really don't care about. And one day you just said, sure, why not? And you're feeling destructive. You just put 2 things in the hole and just rip it apart. That's what Synthetic have been doing. Emergence then tightened up their game and were able to close things down and essentially patch up these holes in their defensive lineup and attacking lineup. But now Synthetic, they're finding these holes again, and all they need is one opportunity. You just need Max to get lucky, or for Freak to get lucky. And look at that scoreline. Look at the performance that Synthetic have had when their defensive side, overall, in my opinion, has been rather lackluster, I will be honest. But it's just having these players with the mechanical ability to keep their team in the game so that they have more opportunities to perform.
Last time Aviator was played, it was just so decisive. The Clash strat, Max sitting in the corner, that's not going to work again. Surely Emergence are going to drone it out. They're not doing their master overtake. This is the round number 8 way of attacking that we saw, where Emergence come in. They try to get control of the vertical and move up for the main study stairs side of things. Synthetic don't often roam, but I'm curious what the Clash strat is going to kind of intersect here. Late deployment, the ADS. Maybe if that was an attacker and not the replicator, there could have been an opportunity there to gun down Maxilli, but it will not present itself. However, Poison is going to prove quite troublesome to clear here on the main stairwell.
I got a question to ask because I'm not really sure. Do Banshees and Clash stack when it comes to that movement penalty?
I think so.
That main stairs just got very unfun, if that's the case.
Yeah, that is not going to be very easy to traverse. One thing you might be thinking about, last season, Upsurge did experiment bringing infinite overtime to the regular season. That has not been happening this season. We're just doing the standard best of 3 rounds played. Maxilli to get the opener, though, as Emergence have lost their clutch player from the previous round, Cool, who guaranteed that we would see overtime, and Rai, who has played well with utility so far. Max is not feeling very pressured on the clear, but Proco downed and killed the Cade. Exposing himself there at Zombies, quite a curious move. Not one that I think is very intelligent.
Now, big thing with Emergence losing those 2 players is Max is able to find another kill and takes that diffuser. A study position still also there on the board, and Synthetic, they have the players to commit to shut down the 90 area. That's what Max is doing. He's simply sitting there and making sure nobody can get to 90 because they're constantly feeling that pressure over towards Trophy. This means Emergence committing their last 2 players to clearing it out. Max is able to find 1, but Talon's there for the refract. A 1 versus 3 though. The damage might be done. Synthetic might have their first offensive round on the board. Now you're seeing the Clash get aggressive yet again. The lifeline, it's not going to have that impact. Look, the switch, it doesn't come through quick enough. And we're seeing Poison just getting to cover in time. Talon's forced with no other option but to push down this 90 area and try and do it before Free can catch up. That's not going to happen. Synthetic, they're going to find a round. It's coming down to little things that they're just not ready for. As soon as we see 1 kill happen, Max has wanted to take control. I talk a lot about Max, definitely just a stand-up player for me. Just finding the positioning, finding the kills and the weaknesses that I've constantly rammed on about this entire game. Because, well, simply put, Stickler, he's playing incredible. And there's no way you can say that he's not. Going on to the attack, though, this is where I feel there might be a little bit of a momentum shift. Emergence, they struggled at the early point, but they started to tighten things up, and this was the site that they did. However, if they are going to shut down Synthetic, this is the opportunity to do exactly that. They're going to be on the attack. It's a different style of play, but you need to be careful. You need to make sure these flanks are covered. You need to make sure you have a clean plan in your head about what's going to take place, because every time Synthetic have won a round, it's because somebody's not looking where they should be. Somebody isn't positioned in that right spot.
The Emergence Trophy Statue defense. This is where we rounded out the first half, and Emergence finally got their beginning of the momentum. As far as the overall macro of the strategy, I think more focus is probably to be placed on behalf of Synthetic, because they started off. They played really good on their attacks, especially on Dining. I mean, that was just a trouncing at the very beginning of this game. Sort of towards round 4, 5, and 6, things did not look as good, especially for Statue. Synthetic just need to work together. Max is approaching a 20 bomb, which is something to talk about in and of itself. Creek is also joining him with Mo in double digits. Emergence, I think, just the same as we've told Max that he needs to step up, somebody on Emergence has to, whether it's, the experience of Son of Finn or the raw gunny of a player like Talon, or even Cool when he's in the clutch. Something has got to give here because Emergence do not have a player on a 20. The closest that they have is Son of Finn.
And support isn't the player that you need to be able to put up those numbers. It's great to have somebody who can, and you can rely upon in those clutch situations, but Son of Finn has been doing a lot of the legwork for the team. The rest of the team needs to come around and really get that. Now, Emergence, they're doing their best to play a very fluid defense. They're putting a bit of pressure on, they're pulling back. Then they're seeing if they can, they're testing the waters and then moving back very quickly. Now, Freak is going to get caught in the swing, won't die to it, takes quite a bit of damage, but nothing's going to take place. Max is going to be able to find a kill onto Talon and takes away the Melusi, but not those Banshees themselves. They're still going to need to be dealt with, but a little bit less pressure of Emergence knowing where you are, and a player that can really put the pressure on. Right now, though, Emergence, they still have that top floor control. A minute 30 on the clock, and Synthetic, they've yet to start moving up. They're gonna want to be pushing up these stairs. Max and Freak both low HP. They're gonna need to go together if they're gonna take away Rai. Rai, like you said, really good with the utility stick. Really capable when it does come to actually picking things up. And right now, this is their first game, actually, in which we've seen OT in the group stages. But the big question is, who's going to win it? Cool Shiesty is on this massive bedroom door, poison nearby, looking to get something. Time is ticking down more and more as Shax is going to take some damage from that Nomad on the window. But as a minute ticks down onto the clock, the vertical players there. I'm just seeing Max and maybe Emergence. They're using this a bit too much. Cool's able to find a kill. Synthetic need to start pushing through. Poison's able to find that frag, and that gives the team an opportunity to do so. But are they going to capitalize upon this? Time ticking down yet again, like I said, but Mo's able to find another frag, and now we're in a 2 versus 4.
The hour of need. Son of Finn and Chax hold on. 2 smoke canisters in pocket. Son of Finn and Chax has got a couple of impacts still lingering around. Chax now gone. Son of Finn in the 1-on-4 to try and save this game and make sure that his team can at least escape and head to the next round. A good pick onto 1. He'll get Freak, but not the second, as it's the captain, Poison, the playmaker in that round for Synthetic as they move forward, claiming the 2 points from this win and guaranteeing their position above Emergence Black here at the start of the group stage.
Yes, but also no. I think that it was a win for Synthetic, granted, and they will take over those points that go with that win, and they're above Emergence. But Emergence, they've given a really strong show for themselves. Synthetic, they've given teams opportunities to really look at where the weaknesses might be, where they might be able to catch things off guard, and things to look out for when they come up against them. And I'm gonna give you a hint. It starts with an M, and it's not my name. But looking at that Synthetic, they had a lot of strengths, including players and positioning and some rounds, but they had a lot of weaknesses. I think that goes for both teams. So there's a lot of work for both teams to really get done throughout the group stages as we look towards these playoffs all the way in the distance. But still, these are improvements that need to happen. This is a good way to start things off with a win, but over time, you're only going to secure those 2 points because we've got the point system like NAL. They're going to need to step up. Emergence, a very nice game from them. It was constantly feeling like catch-up, but then I felt there was a point, but they could start to run away with it until Synthetic just said they wanted to win instead.
Yeah, and at the start of the day, I would have figured that Synthetic were going to take this win, absolutely no questions asked, but Emergence put up a tough fight and guarantee that they'll walk away with 1 point, bit of a consolation prize for the 6 rounds that they put on the board and the close shave that they gave to Synthetic. With that being said, we've got another game still on the docket tonight here for UPL R6. Later in the evening, but before we get to that match, we're going to be taking a quick break as we get everything ready. Do not close this tab. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. Boo. Boo. She gon' bust it. She gon' rush it. She gon' yeah. What's up, baby? Tell me how you get the one up on me. Aye. And I know you ain't playing round. You about to have me down on one knee. Aye. I got that soul. Now she done came and snatched the soul out of me. Aye. She got that gold. She close enough. She open up. You go to sleep. Aye. Now if you ever get to meet her, better keep a shot about to make a supersonic man out of you. She go below the belt. You better go for help. Get shot about to make a supersonic man out of you. I wanna be her man. Now I'm a believer.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here for the first week in the final game of the Upsurge Premier League. We've got a good one ahead of us. It'll be Dallas Vendetta taking on Trust Only Your Squad, and what I imagine will be a fairly closely fought game. This Dallas Vendetta roster is not the same one that you might have seen in the past, and for my behalf, not the most experienced with them personally. Trust Only Your Squad has been a prominent figure inside Upsurge, in fact, going all the way deep into the playoffs last season and giving our eventual champions Ariel Arise quite the run for their money. I'm Sticula. Joining me here is McCready. Any thoughts as we get prepared to jump into this next game?
I probably should have held my tongue at the start, but that's perfectly fine. We are going to jump into this. And Toys, they're a team that myself and Whippet, we had a look at in the qualifiers, and there was quite a lot of promise coming through from them. And I was quite excited to see how they played, and most importantly, how they played throughout there, because even though they lost, they really gave a good showing for themselves. We had Jarden, Cordell, Matt Bonga, Kant, and Jello on the side of Toys. Matt Bonga being one of those players that really had a good game, which, from what the chat was saying, was kind of confusing. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Dallas Vendetta, Akinio, Smack, Hashtag, Reactive, and Objective. These are players that, like you said, you don't know, so chances are there's very little chance I do. This roster, though, the unknown element, particular, we're going to have to peg them as the underdogs because we don't actually know them. But that unknown quantity, it always has that little bit of zest, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they could really come in here. This is a match for them to prove themselves, to, get a little bit more film on their behalf. We can take a quick look over at the map view to figure out where we'll be heading tonight. I have to say, hoping that we get something a little bit more unusual. We had Villa earlier, which was, it's Villa. It's kind of the same all the time, roaming all over the place. Oregon banned out immediately, so you won't have kind of the humdrum of Siege, another coastline ban early here in the veto, just the same as we saw earlier. On behalf of Trust Only Your Squad, I think they've got a lot of experience working behind them, and that's what I would say is their largest advantage. Jarden, Cordell, and Matt Bonga have been playing together, I want to say more than at least a year, going back to their time on Powerhouse. Rounding out the map veto, though, Club Consulate Chalet, which lines us up between two options, Villa or Cafe, the latter of which we will be seeing here in this best of one.
Yes, now, like I said, I saw Toys in those qualifiers with Whippet, and they played Villa, and they had a good game. So it makes a lot of sense they'd leave it towards that end, and that we'd see Dallas Vendetta. They didn't really want to go to there. But, Sticula, you're no stranger to stats. You're no stranger to the numbers, the crunching that comes along with Siege. So I've got one for you. I have only casted Chalet once so far, and I was very excited, hoping we could get something like that, because you said as soon as you said you're looking for something more different, I'm like, yeah, I really want to watch Chalet cast. However, that's not going to be happening. ESA was the only place that was able to give it to me. I know it's a word that's spoken in hushed tones around a lot of scenes, but that's perfectly fine, because we're here for UPL. Here for teams that are really going to kick up a stinker of a game. And I think Toys, they're really going to provide when it comes to these high-quality, high-action games.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Toys pull this one out in the eventual victory, but it's up to Dallas Vendetta to really show us what they're made of. I've heard of Akinio, maybe through Twitter or a few chance viewings of his performance here or there, so take of that what you will, maybe at least having some experience playing at the T4 level. Jumping over towards the operator vetoes, though, we'll get to figure out what's going on, and it seems like Cool is still joining us here from the earlier game.
Yeah, it's good to see him stick around, Somebody we know who's going to be guiding us. Well, we're very comfortable. Now,
right.
It is a bug, and it is a known bug, I do believe, but it's always funny to see, especially when I was watching one of the UKID 2 games for EU. They went into the game with a bug there, and I think they rehosted to get rid of it, or to deal with a Moss issue, and then the bug came up for a different player on the same team. However... more importantly are these bans. More importantly is the fact that Thatcher's on the board at the moment. The Nomad's been taken away, and, well, simply put, Toys on the defense. This makes so much sense. Because you think about a team that wants to roam. You think about the defensive team. They're not too worried about these walls getting opened up or the utility being cleared. They want freedom of movement. Air jabs on the board, they shut that down. It's either a Jackal or a Nomad ban, essentially, if you really want to deal with all of this roam deal. But still, we're going to return to our face just very, very quickly. But that Nomad ban, there's a lot of implications for that being taken first. And I think it just comes through on the playstyle We will see Dallas and Vendetta, they take away Thatcher as well. But I think that's more just to fill in the gap that they're not used to. They might not be ready to deal with a Thatcher because we've seen a lot of times when a commonly banned operator is suddenly on the board, it takes a lot of T4, T3 teams by surprise because, well, they're just not ready for it.
Yeah, and especially Nomad can really affect the way that you play such a crucial operator. The one parallel that I can draw is like a smoke ban on the defensive veto.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You never expect to have such a crucial operator be removed, and so when that is vetoed out, it can cause you to kind of go into a down spiral. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Nomad ban just because nobody likes to play Gridlock. She's so awkward to work with, and so, you kind of have a decision to make there. Maybe with a Nomad ban, you decide to bring someone a little bit extra, bring more soft destruction maybe, or bring somebody that's got extra firepower to fill out the, entry role. Yeah. Nomad ban really means that you're able to play more flexible, and for a map like Cafe where it's really crucial to play around those staircases, a Nomad can be a large bump in the road that maybe you're not prepared to deal with.
Yeah, and I feel like with Nomad, that ban, it definitely leads into what you said, where, well, people don't really want to play Gridlock. There is a niche for it. A lot of people will go and play it. It does have that opportunity. And, well, I think it definitely has that audio benefit of if you get a track stinger down at the same time as go for the plan, then you're able to actually cover the sound. That's not the case at that very moment. But most importantly is I had Vindication Stickula. Zero came into a role as a flank watch operator. He came in to fill in that gap of the Nomad, and I feel like it's something he does very well nicely. And there is that little bit of a niche for him as well as Gridlock, because those cameras, they make a lot of noise when they go down, but as soon as they're down, that's it. There's 4 of them. The hard breach gadget is still there, so still that destruction is on the board, as well as a decent gun to go with. Whether you go for the MP7 or the main assault rifle, both of them work. There's a lot of benefits in picking all of those operators, in my opinion. It's mainly down to personal preference, but it's something I saw Zero fulfill the role of when he was kind of announced. I was kind of like, he might take this role, he might take this position, and it's something when we saw the actual season come into play of Shadow Legacy, it's something I kind of said, yeah, this is happening. And I think that's something that a lot of teams have kind of looked into and said, yeah, sure. Utility denial, it just doesn't really work out when you think about Zero. So they're going for the flank watch. These cams, they're very hard to spot. They're like Valkyrie cameras for the attack. As long as you're not there when they're actually being deployed.
So we still have the veto process ahead of us. 2 defender bans left to decide. Where do you think we're going to see this veto go?
Okay. I think we might see a Cade or a Wamai. I'm going to say one of those 2 are going to show up. I don't think both of them will. I think if we're going to see a Cade ban, it'll probably be furthered on by maybe a Mirror, which has a lot of merit itself when you think about the bottom floor, the top floor. More importantly, a reading dining. I think that's when Mirror definitely stands in, because you think about that top floor hold. There's a lot of potential on the defense. If you see a Wamai ban, though, I think it's just to shut down the control that the defenders have. You think about CAF, it's a map where the defenders have a lot of control on the map. They dictate a lot of the pace. It's when the defenders decide to move back or are forced to give up ground, that's when the attackers get something. Think about Piano, for example, right? You have a player in Pixel, and you have a player either in Minibar, which is very out of their position, granted, but they're able to cover that stage window. The player in Pixel watches a wall behind you. Suddenly, the utility on the wall can't get taken away, and they can't clear you out from shop. And then you also think about the possibility of a player in Freezer with footholds, so they can see you when you walk into Piano to try and deal with the Pixel player, but it's a very hard angle to win. There's a lot of potential. The defenders, they have a lot of say in how the round plays out, especially on the roam as well. With my ban, it just shuts down the power that they have, because you don't have that dynamic placement of the magnets. ADSs, you have to be very, very strategic with and where you place them, especially with that 10-second cooldown. That has a lot more impact than you think. It's like a Thatcher EMP. A lot of the time, it's not something you see with a Thatcher, right? Where in a comp game, you'll see an EMP go off, and then nothing will happen before the actual gadget is turned back on. Something will get destroyed. I think that's in a similar vein to ADSs, but you see them being able to turn back on quite a few times. And if that's allowed to happen, then the defenders just get that position all over again.
All of our questions are answered. Valkyrie and Mira to be taken away here in the veto, so we can go jump over towards Cafe itself to see what's in store. Tories begin on the defense, round number 1 here in the first half. They're going to elect to go for a kitchen defense down on the bottom first floor. Zero and Iana both in play. That was a familiar theme that we had even going back earlier on Villa, where the intel was abundant and very helpful. On behalf of Toys, I think the momentum should be here early in the game. Smack, though, he's going to bring in the Lion for the 6th pick. Quite a curious operator. Maybe DV looking to get an early grasp of the way these rounds are going.
Yeah, I think this Lion, it's Dallas Vendetta product. Prodding a little bit, seeing what potential there is. And I think, okay, when maybe you bring your top floor lineup, you have the ability to deal with a lot of typical mainstay operators, such as a Maestro or a Melusi. You have utility to take that away. Suddenly you're thinking about this push, you're going for a plant, you pop a Lion scan. There's a lot of opportunity there, and I think it's there as well on the bottom floor. When you get aggressive, you're able to pop these Lion scans. You're able to just get that live information on where these people are, and if they pop that, you have information. You know where to look, you know where to cover. Bottom floor is a map where I say that's the most important thing, but it's okay. We are going to see Toys looking to have that roaming setup. This Mozzie Mute combo is definitely standing out to me. That Mozzie definitely fills in the role of getting that information away. And that's where the Lion's going to come in. If you don't have drones on the board, you can actually bring that Lion. Start pushing, applying pressure, put a Lion scan, get some map control, get a crossfire setup if you pre-coordinated it, and suddenly, you have the opportunity to take out a roamer.
There are plenty of roamers available on option here. Toys has got one player roaming white, another 2 holding for the middle floor, trying to stave off early attacker progress. Cordell not eager to give this up. Iana at the ready. Drone will move on through a perfect distraction, gives reactive the opening kill, but in the meanwhile, Smack moves unsupported by his team through the hell door, and he's going to pay a dear price. We won't get to see what the EE1Ds might have been able to do here for the Lion, as he's already taken out. Toys doing a good job to battle back and forth over control of the map, and Dallas Vendetta, despite the fact that they got an early freebie onto Cordell, not able to really make up enough significant ground in the meanwhile. Plenty of pings go back, as it seems like Toys given up the idea of playing for the middle floor. They're going to recoil to the walls of the objective and try to hold back, play the vertical game, perhaps put Cat's Nitro Cell to use, as Matt Bonger's already has exploded. Cat could get an important pick here. And you have Sledge. That's going to be very important, opening up all the various sight lines, as we'll see Object immediately do so, wasting no time, but the time itself is significantly low. Toys doing a decent job to catch many of the members of Dallas Vendetta up in their setup here, moving under the 60-second mark.
Yes, now the 60-second mark is very important. You look at that reinforcement that's actually over towards the pillars area. That's used to really stop the attackers with this vertical play, getting eyes on that double door, because that's a great position to start shutting things down. Right now, you're looking at this Jaeger Jello holding that position in VIP. You have a great spot. You watch the drop, and you also have a player in Whiskey. 2 guns have a crossfire onto this position. 180 S will get boom. Frag grenade will be ready with that Yana, but the gun 6 goes out to get the shield. Damage will trade, but smoke canister start to go through. 3 minutes on the clock, the shield's still there, and Aquino's gonna get down. That's gonna be the Ash taken away. Matt Bonga will finish it off, but Jello's looking for a kill. Reactive though, he stays alive and finds Matt Bonga on the refrag. Jello though, this is the power position we were talking about, and you're able to capitalize upon it. You find one, you look for another one, but the cross will come through. Object's able to find a kill, and Hashtag finds one of their own. Jordan, he's able to get one kill, will find Hashtag, and Toys are able to take that first round. Jordan stepping up in a huge way. Look at that, finding the one kill in the rotate. Suddenly Ace is alone and stuck by those pots, gets taken down. Big problem though, Stick. Why did we see Dallas Vendetta get able to cross through? Jello unable to land the shots. You called out that they were crossing in, but you weren't able to find these kills. That's not something you're going to get away with more than once. However, right now, don't worry about it. You've got the round. We're going to the top floor, and we're going to see the same lineup coming out from the Dallas Vendetta.
Yeah, Jordan was put in a tough spot there, but he managed to hold his cool and play that calm to collect both frags, thus guaranteeing that the efforts of Toys in that first defense were not put to waste. Going to Bar and Cocktail, we'll have the first sight of Aruni here in this game, and I think this is the first time that Aruni has been played all night, even looking back towards what we had on Villa earlier. Good bounty, good lineup there for Matt Bonger. You've got a bulletproof cam, one on Cat as well, so the intel definitely not in shortage for the Toys defense. Bringing the laser gates as well can help to stall out the progress. One placed on the immediate wall. There is sort of some disagreement about where you should be putting all the various Aruni gates. It seemed like for a moment Matt Bonger was thinking about one going immediately from the U-Bar over towards Cigar Shop, and the final one to be placed in support of what I imagine is a bathroom hold getting ready. The Goyo's in play here, so we'll get to see what that looks like. Obviously, Goyo being banned earlier had a weird effect, and the Villa played out a little bit differently than we usually see.
Yeah, now, I think when I look at this, I think the Goyo coming through and Aruni, we're going to see one of those more typical T4 setups for this top floor. That freezer, it's going to have a Goyo shield. It's going to have such a drastic impact because we're probably going to see a player either in bathroom or in freezer or pixel. It doesn't really matter. A number of lines of sight are created. And what this does, whether or not Toys are playing this position or have the players alive, Dallas Vendetta, they need to commit eyes or information to clear it out. They need to make sure it's safe to deal with. That's a big problem. When you're feeling time pressure, which a lot of teams do on cap, especially when it comes to that piano area, that's not a great thing right now. We are seeing an Aruni gate. Will be giving Reactive a little bit of issue on the window, but they're just going to go up to the top. They got a Gemini. They can run around, but no, they're just going to drop in and start to get aggressive. The bulletproof camera will be spot, but not activated, and Reactive has that drone. Has it spotted the pixel player? It should have. They should know that there is somebody there, and right now, Akinio, he's going to want to deal with it. Bulletproof camera will be taken away and Reactive. If you get too aggressive, you will be removed. Look at that. You've got the freezer player in the bathroom. Reactive needs to take this gunfight without getting aggressive. Now, though, Smack can try and deal with this freezer if they know the player is there. Otherwise, it's going to end horribly. Cornell's going to find one kill, and Reactive is going to get him with a martyrdom perk with that frag grenade, able to shut them down. 4 versus 4, but half the round, and we're still seeing Dallas Vendetta very tentative when it comes to pushing into the map.
Yeah, they played well. They cleared out Pixel, and they managed to even sink a nade behind the lines to claim Cordell, but it's traded. So the bounty of that pick, I don't think can really see its full effectiveness. 4 on 4. Dallas Vendetta still moving kind of slowly, and they've got the shield playing for bathroom as well. So Pixel, while, yeah, it's cleared proper, there is another problem to worry about, and that's Jello. Lurking below, the Goyo with the Nitro, and he's got an option here to try and dispatch any of the members of Dallas Vendetta if they stand still inside a piano for a little bit too long. Bulletproof broken here on the west wall. Garden to fall. I'm not sure how he got exposed, but seems maybe just peeking out. Perhaps it was a frag grenade that forced him off balance. Now we'll see the laser gate ruined. 20 seconds. Dallas Vendetta have got a lot of work to do here in the late stages of this round. It seems maybe a frag grenade will land onto the player hiding inside freezer. ADS will stop it for the first. Diego, he's got nowhere to go. Eliminated, but meanwhile, great Nitro by Jello makes this one winnable as the Goyo manages to sneak around. He catches Akinio. Smack needs to recover the case, but all the Goyo needs to do is play it safe. And Dallas Vendetta, they get punished twice in a row for spending too much time taking the map.
And right there is exactly why I love seeing that cartwall opened up. Not only does it allow for the attackers to get a little bit more line of sight and get more exciting games, that's probably not why the defense do it, though. Jello, though, getting on it aggressive on that white window. Now, Dallas Vendetta, they'd already lost quite a few players. They'd already lost Reactive, clearing out Cordell. And sure, that was huge. That was great. That was very nicely done with the frag grenade. You still found the kill. But Cat was down in that freezer. You had the Jaeger that you had to clear out. Now, that happened as well. But as soon as you start committing to the actual push, suddenly that white area gets opened up. You need somebody holding in that piano area to get that line of sight onto Pixel and onto Freezer. Like I said, there's so many different ways that the defenders can come at you and get aggressive and try and shut down your push. That was one of them. We saw Jello getting in there. The Vector, it's not a long-range gun, but in the hands of the right player, one bullet's all you need. Jello was able to land that one shot, the most important one, onto that diffuser carrier to go for the plan. And suddenly, with Ash taken off the board, Dallas Vendetta, they didn't have anything. No time, no kills, no nothing. Really bring them back. Jello's just going to play it safe. Huge shout out though to Matt Bonga. I did notice you getting very, very hungry for kills with that DMR, and you really cleaned up very nice. I want to say, well done. Dallas Vendetta though, they've got the right framework, they've got the right approach, but they're falling down in the departments of needing to speed things up, needing to do this fast and coordinated. Toys though, they have their defense, they're working together, and right now, we're seeing a little bit of an atypical setup. We still got that pixel player for this reading dining site. We see a lot of teams want to commit to that hard cocktail defense, and then you see fours from down below. Toys though, we're gonna try something else.
I like the way that Toys have structured this. It's fairly standard round. Vertical extension to play below, or play above rather, and stall the progress for Dallas Vendetta. This worked wonders in the previous round. If it can even achieve close to what it did just less than a minute ago, this is going to be a pretty big problem. Dallas Vendetta have the utility ready to try and clear it. We'll see the breaching round sent in. Looks like maybe aimed closer towards what might have been, I assume, Cat's bulletproof camera. There in the corner, a piano. The shield still in position, and the ADSs armed and ready to try to stall out any of the additional breaching tools, of which there are not very many left of. Frag grenade in pocket for object. That'll be the main sticking point here, as it looks like the shield has been successfully cleared. Pixel now evacuated, but the time loss is significant for Dallas Vendetta. 90 seconds to have not even progressed into the center of bar, with very little threatening the control for cocktail as well. This round, the speed has got to change. They need to move faster. And one of the members of Toys' defense has managed to sneak back into Pixel. That mistake is capitalized on. Reactive will gun down Cordell as we edge our way closer and closer in the round. Great picks there, though. Dallas Vendetta, 5-on-3. They managed to get a little bit of purchase.
Yes, but Cat's gonna just slip things away a little bit more. That time is gonna be a big issue, like you said, something Dallas Vendetta have struggled with so far throughout all the attacks and all the rounds. Right now, Toys, they still got Cat in that cocktail position. They still got Jello there. We're looking to support them. 3 versus 4, yes. But right now, the map control is more important than the players alive. It's just like when you see a 3 versus 2 on bottom floor Cat on this club. And look at that, Jello's able to even things up. Yes, Dallas Vendetta, they're pushing through. Oh,
there's no way he wins that.
Yeah, exactly. You're not meant to win that gunfight if your name is Cat and you're the Jaeger. But 1 HP, you are going to stay alive. Smack and hashtag, they're going to need to drop against something huge. The player Jello down in that dining area prone is looking for the kill, does damage. But now Smack and hashtag, they're going to have to go through the smoke canister. They're going to have to push through the timers in the red. And Jordan's going to clean house. Yet again, Jordan really just ramping up with those last couple of kills. Big thing is this time. We're seeing a lot of time spent for very little map control and 0 kills. Something's got to change for Dallas Vendetta. You need to start putting the rounds on the board. The pace, the control that you're getting, you need to capitalize upon it a lot more. That was a much better round. We saw them finding kills from the mispositioning of Toys, with Cordell trying to get back in there. But as soon as they find a couple of kills, they're giving up their advantages almost as quickly as they find them, I think. And that's a big issue that you can't ignore at all.
Royal flush here on the first 3 rounds of Cafe Dostoevsky as trust only your squad and managed to accumulate flawless rotation of sites. Going back now, we'll see what Kitchen looks like as Dallas Vendetta get the first option to repeat things and to right their wrongs as they were on the first round of this match. Dallas Vendetta, time has got to be fixed. It's too slow every round. You cannot be 40 seconds and not have firm control of cocktail. It's a vertical extension. You know what to expect. It's one of the most common strategies on Cafe. And so maybe this is Dallas Vendetta not having the most experience, not being drilled as a team, not having everyone fill their roles. It's a very systematic approach when you're clearing out that vertical hold upstairs. So if you don't have everybody doing their jobs, if there's uncertainty, if there's a lack of leadership, all of those can contribute to the slowdown that Dallas Vendetta have faced in every round of this game. Not only that, but also Jordan playing well in the time when it's closing down, when the round is starting to get closer to the end, Jordan is prepared for the Dallas Vendetta push. Not only in round number 1, he managed to secure the 1-on-2, where it looked like Dallas Vendetta almost were able to eke out a win, but also just there, getting the double kill, using his utility as the smoke to choke out Dallas Vendetta because the time was too low and the smoke canisters had not been properly wasted.
Now, what I need to see from Dallas Vendetta is capitalizing upon reactive. You have a Gemini, you have the opportunity to push through. Now, you're not even using the Gemini. You're taking control, you're looking to ramp up the aggression. It's going great. I can't fault you, you're getting going. But you're risking a player, you're face checking everything. There's no droning going in on this top floor. And you are Yana. Get Ash to have that aggression, get your Gemini moving through. But this top floor roam clear, it's got a purpose. You've got that Lion plane down below. Smack's able to find a kill. Cordell needs to find the refrag, but the shots just aren't going to land. Will do some damage, but not enough to kill. The drone will be taken off that board. And okay, right, yeah, sure, you have got a Mozzie to deal with, but now we're going to see the Gemini. I want to see much cleaner clearances coming out from Yana. You know, we'll be getting this Ash and we'll be looking towards this white stairs as the Yana goes and clears the back. This is why you need to take advantage of what you've got. But now, half the round's gone. Dallas Vendetta, they listened, they ramped up the pace. Now they can start this vertical play and actually have time to capitalize on it. They don't have to rush in for the push, but Cordell is waiting down by the bottom of these stairs. He doesn't have a C4 in pocket, doesn't need it when you have the P10. Roni is not going to be able to find a kill. Reactive, landing the shots onto Cordell. Now it's a 3 versus 5. This is a different Dallas Vendetta to what we've seen before, and that's a good thing. A very good thing. Their aggression, their time usage, their utility, they've just flicked it on with the flick of a switch. But 50 seconds remain, and some of the key Toys players are still on the board.
Well, now you can see the effect that this efficiency on the timing clear has had. Jordan forced to expend multiple toxic canisters to make sure Freezer does not fall too easily. Hashtag approaching the bottom of the stairs, and the man count still firmly in Dallas Vendetta's corner. Approaching things, a missed opportunity for Hashtag, but Cat is caught. The smoke ready for the peak. Jordan, his elbow almost exposed, but with that toxic canister, now you've got one of the key avenues locked off. Matt Bonger's got the SMG-11, not the best long-range weapon, but he makes it work. And Reactive DBN-O'd by the shotgun, whipping to the opposite angle. Hashtag picks off Matt Bonger, full of lead, trying to go prone, but there's simply too many attackers to fight back against. Dallas Vendetta, they changed their style of siege, and it works wonders. Their first attacking win on Cafe.
Yes, but they need to keep this going. You found one good round that's really good. The momentum of Toys has been broken for a bit. You need to be able to capitalize upon this. They're going to be heading back to that top floor, and this is where you really struggle and really had issues. You shut down a lot on that bar. You lost a player trying to take control of it when it came to that cocktail push. You really started to fall flat on your face. Matt Bonga had a huge effort. What I want to see, though, Stickler, just hear me out on this. I want to see potentially a player repelling on that white window, maybe a little bit of pressure on the east side of this building. You know, you're looking at this top floor, and you're saying, okay, if we're stalling out on the push and we have somebody over on that side, they can at least start putting pressure on and open up another avenue, another line of sight that they might want to take control of. One big thing is that we are looking at Jello, preparing for this with that reinforcement on the board. It's going to make life a little bit more comfortable. The way the reinforcements are done there is going to be very difficult for Dallas Vendetta to get a line of sight into that cocktail area without holding piano and exposing himself to a myriad of angles. But I want to see a bit more presence on this east side. If we can, Toys will feel a lot more pressure. And when Dallas Vendetta have tried to apply this pressure, that's when it's worked. That's where they won that round. Matt Bonga gonna give it a go himself. He's gonna be able to take away Cat, and suddenly the Jaeger's off the board. I do believe they would have got all 3 ADSs down. I hope so, because if not, this could be what Dallas Vendetta need. They play together now because they've got a player advantage already.
Yeah, that is a lot of leverage for Davey to have, and I have a feeling that maybe it was Cat having a skin on, and so instead of electing to go for a rehost, they're just going to play the round out. See how this one is going to work. You don't have the Jaeger, so you're not so available to play on the long angle. If Dallas Vendetta can get the 5-on-3 as they did in the previous round. It went untraded, and I think that was one of the largest points that they had in their advantage. Toys were not able to contest them in the way that they had done the first 3 rounds, and as a result, they kind of had to fall off. It was sort of required. That caused a lot of problems moving forward. Spotting out some of the ADS burn utility, one of the blind magnets is shot and the breaching round sent backwards. Now the burn focuses on Pixel with the bulletproof camera cleared. They're going to try to put some pressure on the Vulcan shield, and it looks like it's successful. Pixel is cleared, and so Cordell having to fall back, but there goes Jello. An aggressive run out works wonders as he picks off Aquinio, and Toys managed to rip this one back despite having an early death that they could do nothing about. They've still managed to persevere here in a big way moving forward in the round.
Right, Stick. Or, as I should call you, as you're known in the using as Stickula, if I'm not mistaken. Now, when I talk about the east side presence of Toys, they're being distracted. They're worrying about another angle that Dallas can apply pressure from. Well, that's happening to the DV side at the moment. They had to worry about that run out. They had to go up to the top floor. They can't apply a lot of pressure. And right now, that piano just became a lot harder to deal with, especially with Jello, with the vertical play and the C4 pocket. As soon as it's told he's missed the mark on it, he gets the C4 at the hatch. Now, big thing is that Cordell is ramping up the aggression. The smoke canister's going to follow. MacBonga's going to find it. Kill Cordell's able to find another one. And a 4 versus 2 with 50 seconds left. Reactive and Object, they had a huge showing before, and Object's going to start compounding upon that. The C4 from Jello comes through, but finds nothing. That diffuser being down is the biggest asset for Toys at the moment, and a player on the hatch. Reactive is going to take advantage of Cordell getting aggressive and putting this onto a 2 versus 2. Jello, though, able to find that refrag. Now it's 2 versus 1. Object is dropped and got the diffuser. So you got to give him some credit, but a bulletproof cam and coordination from Toys will shut that down very quickly. Couple of things in that round that we really need to talk about, including the run out and the fact that DV, they did not capitalize. They didn't ride along any of the momentum that opening pick gave them because Toys, like you said, literally nothing they could do. They just had a dedicated flank watch at that point.
I don't know what Object was doing up on the rooftop for so long. Yeah, he got Jarden, who, I don't know where Jarden was going either. That's a whole nother question, but he kind of had to drop down. That was almost winnable. That was a 2-on-2 because Jarden swung when he didn't need to, and he lost all of his smokes, and Cordell didn't know what he was doing, trying to wide swing the top of the red stairs. Toys gave away an advantage that they had no business owning in the first place in that round. But Dallas Vendetta could not complete, and Toys will get another defense round. Back to reading. Given the Toys are not going to team kill here, I have to say this is looking like 5-1 because the one round that Dallas Vendetta have won so far, they did not capitalize on that momentum. In fact, the next round was, I think, probably the worst in the game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Dallas Vendetta, they took very, very aggressive control of the top floor, but I'm still very apprehensive about the viability of it, because if we saw a much more aggressive Toys roam game, that would have been shut down a lot easier. We saw the reactive going in with the Yana undroned and without that Gemini scanner. That's not a great position to be in. There was that top floor presence as there is now. Toys had a lot of opportunity for a free kill, but like I said, it's going to be that top floor presence. Dallas don't have the opportunity to get that very early on like they did in that one round they've won. And then that last round, well, there was a lack of coordination, really a lack of positioning in general that you really want to bank on Dallas Vendetta winning that round. For now, we're going to be clearing out this top floor, hoping to avoid a repeat of what we just saw. But the big thing is for me, most importantly, is it possible? Is it too little too late? A 5-1 split or a 4-2? Realistically, in terms of mental, they're very different, but in terms of numbers, they're very similar. Reactive will be in this shot position looking for this first kill. Takes a lot of damage though. And that's going to be coming out from Cat, and then the C4 will be able to will just shut it down. Matt Bonga's able to find a kill from down below. Nobody wants to deal with him. Nobody wants to worry about the fact that there might be this positioning. Something we've seen take place quite a bit in competitive Siege in general. And in the last round we saw that C4 found the kill. Now Cordell is able to find a kill before the Ghost Shield burns. Is able to get the pre-fire onto it, basically, Stick, to explain what happened. Thanks to the ADS is being burned, it took way too long for that shield to get taken away. Cordell realizes this, gets aggressive, gets a kill, pulls back, stays alive, very minimal damage is done, and a top floor hold for reading and dining, and we're barely seeing Pixel being taken away.
Nate sent down the cat. The timing, it's always a problem for Dallas Vendetta, and that's not changing in this round. This cat will pick off 2, just feeding into him, smacking hashtag to go down. An object left in the clutch. Great crosshair placement there. He will pick off the Jaeger and get this round going, but the 5-1 half that I had forecasted seems like we might be heading towards that territory unless object can pull a miracle, one that his team desperately needs. A 2-4 half, as well as the mental of him winning this clutch would give. I think that makes this game approachable. Cafe can be difficult at times to attack, but look at the two-way crossfire we've got set up there at the middle of white. Nothing that Object can really do to try and trump this, and as he tries to peek the hatch, Jello's well aware of it. Toys 5 rounds on their defense, really taking no prisoners here on the start of Cafe, and the momentum entirely in their camp.
Was it ever anywhere else? If we take a look at the scoreboard at the half, we're seeing kind of a similar story, actually. We're not seeing that much variation. We're seeing quite a nice spread, realistically. Nobody is clearly underperforming by a huge margin on either side, but just the average of Dallas Vendetta is lower. It replies in the scoreboard. Reactive, having died in every single round so far, I mean, there's benefits to this. You know, you're getting involved in the gunfights. You've also got the highest KD or the highest kill count on your team. But we're not really seeing we're not seeing this actually translate into any round victories. We saw one round where you're able to pick up a victory. Now you're on the defense. You're going to reading dining first, and I think this might be kind of what you need. You're looking at this, and Toys, they're in smelling distance of this match point. They're breathing right down its neck at this point, and with the momentum, they're set to get it. But what you look at when you look at them going to reading dining is they have the opportunity to store out Toys. If they stop them feeling comfortable and getting the momentum, then that can offer a huge myriad of opportunities. They're not feeling comfortable pushing through, then you go to the bottom floor, you have a tight roam game, you go up top and just have a tiered defense to shut them down. I think this is a good move to go to this site, and I'm liking the vertical play that's set up by the Aruna.
What is this?
This is a line of sight. As soon as that Banshee goes and that Aruna gets popped and you're feeling pressure, you're gonna see at least one player playing down below, shooting through that gap for the double door, making sure that when somebody crosses, they're either taking damage or dead. Of the top floor,
Looks like a caterpillar.
Yeah, it does. The hungry caterpillar had a very nice meal in Kraft Dostoevsky, but Cordell, he's hungry for something of his own, and that's the fact that he can still hear this sight setup. Oh, he's in A. He's being droned out, though. He has these sight lines. He knows nobody's here. How are you in this position with nobody knowing? He spots the Aruni. The Aruni gets a cam. Oh my god. How is this happening? I want to give a shout out to Nova for spotting this. Certainly I wouldn't have. But they're holding this position, and in doing so, you've got Cordell shutting down a huge rotation position. That 90 has just become so much more difficult. Now, Aquino is going to make a vault rotate, but isn't going to know that there's a player there. Matt Bonga's going to be able to open things up and gets a kill. And Cordell, he's got a sightline made for him from the defenders, but Aquino's going to peek it and finds the kill. The Lion Scanner will come out and spots Aquino, but Cordell has been taken away. A big issue that the Dallas Vendetta lineup was gonna have to deal with one way or another. They've lost a player in the form of Reactive, but ultimately, you actually have site control back, and I think that's something you need. Hashtag is looking to get aggressive on the roam. Doesn't just about spot out this Jarden, this ace. Matt Bonga, though, on the Sphere, looking to push towards that 90 area and kill this. Hashtag, the longer you stay alive, the longer you hold this position, the more shocking it's going to be to the Toys lineup when you decide to pounce. Looks like we might be approaching that time right now, and damage will be done to Jarden. Not enough to get a kill, but Smack's there to close down. Gets a kill onto Matt Bonga. Sun, Sophia, and Ash are gone. That propelled soft reach is taken away, 50 seconds on the clock, and a 3 versus 4 in favor of Dallas Vendetta. Is this the momentum shift? Is this the round win that they need? They still have the top floor, and they still have the sites, but Toys, they have 5 rounds to 1 backing them.
Quite a rare occurrence to actually see the pillar wall get open by Hard Breach. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've seen that happen. This could be big problem. The fact that one player waits inside Train, but Jello gets Akinio. Seems maybe a bit of baiting going on over by Train. Object. Wow, what a pick. He'll pop up and take down one, but Jarden, meanwhile, has snuck into Bookshelf to get the plant, and no one's waiting at the vertical just this moment. Jarden will back up, and hashtag, he's got the line of sight. It's Dallas Vendetta finally to claim a desperately needed round at this point.
I'm sorry for cutting you. That was rude, and I won't do it again, I promise. But that's why teams still like opening up that pillars wall. It's great to move into, and it's great to have that opportunity to just walk in, get a plant down, without having to go through the choke point that is the reading door. But in the post plant, when you're outnumbered, every sightline is going to favor the defenders, is the people with the greater numbers. Just shut things down. Very nicely done from Dallas Vendetta. I think there was a lot of mistakes and a lot of success on both sides. I'm not going to say which one was the weaker. But Toys, they had a lot of opportunity. They were able to get in there. They had a lot of potential I don't think was really realized. Matt Bonga was able to find a kill into Reactive. Cordell was set to get another one after finding one kill. But it wasn't meant to be. At that point, it came down to Dallas Vendetta. They had Smack playing aggressive, and then they had hashtag waiting as well. Staying alive, holding position, waiting for the plant to go down. Suddenly, you had those two players in the crossfire. Beautifully. Dallas Vendetta coming up to his top floor, and they will be looking to slow down the momentum. Momentum, it's a word we use a lot today, and there's a very strong reason why. I think you could see it by the scoreboard. Toys, 5 rounds in a row. Well, no, not a row, actually. 5 rounds on the attack, on the defense, for them. Dallas Vendetta only got 1 on attack. Toys, if they lose another round, I'd say they're going to be struggling to keep the momentum. But if they're able to pick this up, I think it might just be the final nail in the coffin that for Dallas Vendetta. They might be able to pick up another round or 2. But overall, they just haven't had what it takes. Toys have had that little extra fuel in the tank when it comes to this late round. It comes down to the clutch situations. At Dallas Vendetta, you can only get lucky so many times. I feel bad for saying it, but those are my honest thoughts. Now, the red push is coming through from Cordell. They know that the hatch is open, and they're expecting that vertical play, which they use themselves. I like this. It's a team realizing a strength in their lineup might be a strength in another team's as well, so they have something prepared to deal with. Museum and Engine will be cleared out with the drone and Cordell, and suddenly the drones are going through to get the information.
Keep an eye on Buck, see where he goes, because I feel like this could be Toys with an option to play for a cocktail take. Like, Cat is lingering on the west side for a long time, so I feel like maybe Toys are not totally checked into that yet. We saw Cordell take control below early, perhaps searching to cut off the Nitro game. That's always important when you're trying to go for a piano push, given that a Nitro can very easily derail the round in its entirety, something that we saw plague Dallas Vendetta when they attacked this area of the map, which felt like it happened in every single round, because they did a top-down take, and that was that. Pillar Shield is in play, or rather Pixel Shield. It's reactive to play behind it, ADS, but no Wamai in support. Reactive takes a lot of damage early, and that's going to happen when you don't have any Wamai magnets holding you back. However, something else that's holding back Toys is Mute Jammers. Placed on the red wall here, making sure that the Selmas are going to take as long as possible.
I feel like this Selma and Charge and the Toys hold down below. That's what we're really going to see these rounds coming through now. Like you said, this bot has a lot of opportunities to get down below and start ripping open this floor. There's not that much on the side of Dallas Vendetta that's going to be exposed to this. But you think about your late game. You're thinking about when these players are trying to shut down a plant. Now, hashtag, it's going to be able to find a kill onto that Cordell. Gets that bottom floor player, and suddenly the rest of the Toys attack is on the top floor. They're going to have to deal with this Spectre. They're going to have to deal with the Alva. And that P10 Ronnie, wherever it may be. You have a player in the white window looking to shut down the bathroom player, but as long as there's a freeze or rotate, they should be okay. With that wall being open, though, it's going to be very difficult for them to get out of there. Jello's going to be able to find kill after being active. 4 versus 4, 30 seconds on the clock. I want to say from right now, it looks very much in Dallas Vendetta's favor. But Toys, we have to look at what we've seen so far. They've been able to excel. The big problem is they've got 3 people down below. Smack's able to find a kill to make sure it's only 2. And Jello's going to start pushing in on White. Knows there's a player on those stairs. It's going to be down to Aquino to find a kill onto Jordan. Now, though, Jello's going to have to push through and overexpose yourself in a horrible way. You get the player in that freezer, but you're not going to get the plant down. Dallas Vendetta, they played it very, very nicely. They made the attackers overcommit downstairs. And, well, they shut it down on time very comfortably. I'm pleased with that. This is a much better round for Dallas Vendetta.
And it seems we're stepping into a much closer game as Toys don't have that same fire that they did and that kind of ability to rest on their laurels for the defense and hide out behind shields, behind waves of projectile protection. Dallas Vendetta collect 2 rounds and Toys needing something to push themselves up to match point. A 2-round lead separates them, but it gets thinner and thinner as time goes on, and as Dallas Vendetta break down that margin and build up their own momentum. Kitchen hold to be seen here, probably going to be the most lengthy if Toys try to go for that full top floor clear, given that you've got Smack, who's got mute jammers, he could place those upstairs to stall drones. You've got Vigil as well, who's incredibly important. Reactive is not going to give up areas of the map control quickly or be easily droned, something that Toys could get wrapped up in quickly. I think one point you must mention, Cordell needs to play with his team. He's been solo entering, he's been creeping in. Yes, it had a purpose in the previous round, but beyond accomplishing one slight area of control, eventually Dallas Vendetta recognized that Cordell had given it up, and they crept back in.
Yeah. And I think that's a big, big thing, is we need to see that all the members of Toys really start to recognize what they need to do and what their role is and fulfill it. Something they did on defense, but now Dallas Vendetta are on that defensive side. Remember, this was their map pick, and because of that, well, they're going to have something prepared. They could have taken us to Villa and taken Toys from a map that they're provenly comfortable on, or if you got to Kav Dostoevsky, they could have something prepared to deal with it, and they could take us through here. Every team needs to know how to play Kav Dostoevsky, and Dallas Vendetta, this is their opportunity to prove that they do as well. Hashtag on the roam, where we look at to really put some pressure on those red stairs, but that's not where Cordell's playing. Cordell, on the wedding window, will just be holding for these rotates. A beautiful line of sight created.
I like
get your drones. Yeah, I haven't actually seen that before, and as long as Kav Dostoevsky has been in the game. And if I'm not mistaken, we're looking at some of these older reworks, like Cav, they've been in just as long as the original, which is kind of scary. Hereford Base, the new one, has been in the game longer than the old one. But still, I digress. We're looking at this line of sight. This is shutting down the Roma, and in doing so, you're forcing the Dallas Vendetta players to look towards you. The drones are going to be doing a lot of the clearing work. You just need to tell Cordell, is there somebody there? If there is, they expect to take a gunfight very soon. Smack's going to be falling to one of those on that bottom floor, and then to see Cordell pull above. They still need a vertical play to come through, and they still have time to deal with it. And that wall that we talked about earlier is going to get opened up. Cat's going to stay alive with that pop, gets the hatch, and gets to drop. Probably not if that floor's open, but still, I digress.
Well-needed entry pick.
Yeah, they have a lot of potential, including that opening pick. And I'm going to let you take it away here while I gather my thoughts real quick.
Of course, getting prepared for the eventuality that this could be Toys. 6-3. Mapbonger inches his way forward. Bad droning. Hashtag not spotted, playing inside of reception. Goes for the pre-fire, drone in, but he'll bail off. Great watch there. The intel communication clean as ever as Mapbonger eliminates Hashtag, securing his teammates' trade and making sure that Dallas Vendetta aren't able to wiggle their way back into this one. Mapbonger has isolated one long angle, something the defense had initially thought was going to work to their benefit, now goes completely awry the other way. Cat manages to isolate one playing inside of Kitchen Prep, but does not stick the angle. Meanwhile, Toys, this is a bit late in the round to be establishing the vertical. It's the breaching charges deployed. 3-on-4, man disadvantage. Object, still 3 toxic babes left in pocket, but nowhere near the objective to be able to put them to use. Pre-fire goes on through. It's just Aquino left in the corner. Are they aware of this? He'll still sit lying in wait. Triple zeros are hit. I do not believe it.
I'm so sorry, but look at that. You knew there was a player there. You could have jumped through the window. Basically, what we saw from Bikini was just playing it prone and then just holding it. Because as soon as you play it prone, we saw Jarden try and pre-fire, try and push forward, and try and get a kill, but it was prone. So he assumed that you'd move. The smoke was down. You went for the plant. And it was just light work. I'm sorry, I don't like laughing at players when this happens to them because it is pain in the purest sense of the word. But that was beautifully played. Incredible game sense came through. And we're actually looking at Dallas Vendetta now with a real chance to break even and maybe even push it to overtime. I think if Dallas Vendetta, they win this round, I think they'll be getting match point first. I'm going to make that prediction right here, right now, because the momentum that they've been riding, Toys have not won a single attacking round so far, and they've come very, very close, haven't they? And because of this, particular, I'm thinking it's just gonna, how long is their mental going to last? Because you look at really high tier teams and obviously their mentality, they have coaches designed for it, they're ready to deal with it. And a big problem is, that support might not be established at leagues like UPL or SCS or anything like that. So, Toys, how long can they keep throwing poop at a wall to see if it'll stick? They need to get some results, and soon, otherwise Dallas Vendetta, they're going to just start running away with it in a similar way to when we saw Synthetic before.
Yeah, that's a good analogy to draw, because Dallas Vendetta are marching back round after round, and here goes Cordell again.
No, you can't.
You can't just do that twice in one game within the span of 4 rounds. Cordell's just like, hey guys, I'm here trying to sneak in, but he will not commit for the play. In fact, charging through into rat corner. Hashtag is ready for it. That's not a smart play. I don't know why Toys have Cordell charge through that. I mean, there was no drone. There was just kind of mind-boggling what the idea is there. At least the trade, that finally the drone magically appears and the intel is transferred to Jello. At least a trade is given, but who knows what effect that'll have. Oh, there is a lot of utility upstairs here. You've got Evil Eyes, Banshees, ADS. I mean, just really the whole works to hold out here, and Object might not be able to be cleared. In fact, he's got canisters as well. So really, how many elements of slowdown do you have? And Akinio's not going to make that any easier.
I'm going to add to this, Stick. As soon as we see Object being pushed back, well, then you've got Reactive ready to take that position. That's probably why we're seeing Toys. They've said, "This ain't looking good. We're going to move around." And a big advantage that Dallas Vendetta are going to have, if this is the case, is that hungry caterpillar above of sightlines. As soon as the plant starts to go down and Toys have control of the site, the vertical plate, that's going to come through. Jarden is going to make sure that Akinio is not the player to do it, finding that kill. He's unable to get that pillar's wall open, but based on that last time we were on this site, I wouldn't worry too much. Looking at this Alda holding down below, Object has that SMG-11. There's going to have to be some presence. I can see a swing onto Object right now, but that Belusi, it's going to make life very difficult. The utility comes through, and even though the Banshee doesn't go off, Object's very aware that someone's going to be pushing. 30 seconds and the canister goes out. Makes a lot of sense. Utility will flush through, and we'll see Matt Bonga and Jello try and deal with it. The two main fragments for Toys, and one of them's going to be taken away. Reactive, like I said, will come up to the top floor and will Object to really shut things down. Jarden able to find that the Maestro takes away the Alder. It's going to sing that sweet song of death no more. Reactive is going to have to go for the Y swing if they want to take down Jarden. The plant will be going down, and oh, Reactive just about lands the shot, but Object gets a kill of his own. Incredible shot to win up the round, Object. Put that in the frag movie. Was that too harsh?
Oh my gosh.
Was that a bit too much?
Vendetta.
I'm sorry.
Toys have not won. What is going on in this game? Toys have not won a single attack round. And look at that. We've had every win condition you could have. We've had an end on time, eliminations, 2 post-plant diffusers. Yeah, this game is just, I don't even know at this point. Dallas Vendetta, it was, McCurdy, they had a 4-round disadvantage, and it just evaporates like that.
Are you okay there, buddy? You sound a bit taken aback.
No, I'm not. I am taken aback. This is just, I guess this is just defensive-sided Cafe and Toys losing every option.
Simply put, Stick, I gotta thank Dallas Vendetta for giving a beautiful game to be watching. I'm absolutely enjoying my heart out of it at the moment, because we're looking at this and we're seeing a game that's balanced, not because it's tit for tat, it's back and forth in the typical sense, but because it's both teams really, really struggling on the attack. And I said, if Dallas Vendetta, if they win out this round, or the last round, I'd expect to see them taking the next one and pushing us to match point. This could be the momentum shift Dallas Vendetta needed. We said their defensive side, we needed to see something big. And holy moly, they are providing, pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Right now, though, I'm looking at this utility being used. I'm looking at Hashtag getting aggressive with the white stairs, putting pressure on Jello. Jello and Matt Bonga have been very, very quiet on their attacking side, and I think that's because they're not on this entry role. It's going down to Cordell, who's been taking a lot of gunfights unsupported. Your entry, 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to have that support, that refrag position. Obviously, it's absolutely huge, right? But, you know, it's not happening for Toys, and that's a big issue. I know we're looking at Cordell going through, trying to deal things, and right now, Cat's not really sure what to do. That Evil Eye will get spotted and taken away, and Cordell will find that opening kill. But vertical play, it's going to come through. It's going to find a refrag. And right now, we're seeing a reinforced piano. And we're seeing Smack playing this differently. I'm interested, because we don't normally see the Goyo shield when that piano wall is completely open. This might be a case of they're waiting for it to open. As soon as that wall opens, then they're going to have that Maestro camera in card right on the opposite side of Cat's wall to really get to work. Yeah, yes, it's started in, and half the round will take off the clock. Evil Eye, it's still there. It's in a position where when you go for that attack, simply put, Stick, you're either looking there or taking a gunfight, and regardless, you expose yourself to both. Big issue for Toys is they don't have a player on that white window where you see each other a number of times. So now Reactive has a lot of freedom of movement playing alongside Smack and Freezer. In doing this, they can get aggressive on Pillar. Half of that cart wall is open, and it's soft. That Bonga on Pixel is be looking for a kill, looking to get some pressure, make sure nobody can move down that white stairs. But something's got to happen for Toys. You had a 4-round advantage, and now you've got none. This is the opportunity to put something on the board and get the game in your favor again.
You have to get it here. If this round is lost, Dallas Vendetta are going to ride through. They're going to play their next defense, and they're going to show us, why they are such a resilient team. An adjustment in the mid-round. Toys are not going to continue trying to push for the play that has stalled them out so long. Smack will find one great trade there, but the prone angle by Reactive is not expected. Cat plays for the white repel. He's got to get in here. There's 15 seconds. This play must work out. Jello is still on cooldown for his EE1D, and now he's flattened as he flies in. The Alda overwhelming as Object will get 2 more. Dallas Vendetta, 5 rounds in a row, unanswered by Trust Only Her squad, who don't have any clue how to stop this wave.
DV, kind of talking in chat, and you know what? I'll give them credit. You look at that scoreboard, they goddamn deserve it. The final round. Possible regulation time. Relegation. Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's tired. It's 1 AM. I'm going to cut myself a little bit of slack. Toys have been cutting themselves a little bit too much. I've kind of got to echo the words of Object there. We're looking at Jello. I'm looking at Matt Bonga. You two players really have been the main driving forces of your team and have just been quiet. You're putting up these positions that you need to hold. You've been putting up the utility, but they're not riding on it. They're not finding kills. They're not opening through for the push. And now, this defensive round for Dallas Vendetta in regulation time will end as it all started on that bottom floor. And, well, it didn't start here. It started here in the first round. Stick, help, please. But most importantly, let's talk about the fact that Dallas Vendetta, the last time they were here, it was a 1 versus 3. And it came down to time pressure, giving Aquino the ability to shut down the round.
That's something important to think about here. This round should have been Toys. There was just a teeny tiny bit of trolling going on with one player lying prone in a corner, obscured by a smoke grenade from the Toys offensive supply that kind of worked against them more than it did anything of a benefit. Dallas Vendetta, this is going to be a pretty close one. The decider between overtime or a Dallas Vendetta win in regulation.
I think that's a very nice way to look at it. I don't think we're going to see overtime. I think Dallas Vendetta, they're riding with it. They found their groove. They are playing the defense and they're playing it comfortably. Toys falling a bit flat on their face. Now they're getting control. They have that east side, they have that west side, that north side pressure. Utility is going to get droned. They're going to be able to open up that line of sight if they want from Cordell on that wedding window. But I'm not seeing a lot in what they can do as they have to find something and make it stick. Drones will go through. We'll get information. But there's nobody there to act upon it. Matt Bonga will be over by this museum. And we will see Cordell trying to do some vertical play. But there's no point in that position. You're wasting utility realistically. The drones have gone through. And you know that they're pulling down. You've seen them dropping down. Why is this utility being killed and be further and better used in this museum area? Luckily, you have a sledge, so those gaps will be filled. And we're going to see Cordell opening up so that line of sight to cut things off. They still have time to work with Stick. And they still have a long wedge that they can drive between a retake if they were to rotate to Bakery. Although I think we're going to see a freezer push. We're going to see what we saw last time. But hopefully for Toys, without the smoke shenanigans coming out from Aquino.
Cordell needs an entry quickly, and it has to be untraded. Dallas Vendetta, if they can play this into the 4-on-4, they're going to fall back, they're going to waste time, and because the vertical play has not yet garnered a pick for Trust Only Your Squad, I don't have a very strong feeling that it is going to as the round gets lower and lower. Last time we went here, the reason why Toys came up short had to do entirely with the fact that they spent too much time slowly working towards the site, trying to get vertical when there were 20 seconds on the clock and a play needed to be made. Aquino goes down, a great frag for Cap, but the trade is in and Cordell is DBNO'd. There is so little time here that I don't think Trust Only Your Squad can really afford to go out, send somebody to get him back up. The progress is slow, but Matt Bonger, an important frag as he shuts down the VIP hold, working his way into the whiskey bar, 5-on-2. The man count low for Dallas Vendetta, but such as it was last time we came down to the brutal end of this round. Trust Only Your Squad, they are not making any mistakes on the drone game. Smack, he's shut down. Trust Only Your Squad, after 5 struggling attacks, finally get one in the hour of need to send us into overtime.
And there we go, Matt Bonga and Jello stepping up. Now, Matt Bonga, a little bit shaky there, thinking he killed the Goyo, but actually getting the kill onto the other player down there. But that was huge. Flawless round, because they managed to end it down before Cordell blew up. Cordell, you're having a lot of the work and a lot of the gaps being filled by Matt Bonga and Jello. This is huge. Toys, they've proven me wrong. They pushed us through to the second overtime today, and the second overtime in this league so far. Particular. So that's a nice little stat for you. We are going to be heading to Reading Room Fireplace with Dallas Vendetta on that Reading Fireplace. They're going to be going back to where it started. They're going to be looking to shut things down. They have a castle, a Maestro, a Malusi. Well, they don't have a castle, sorry. They're going to be bringing the Malusi in place of it. And I think that's just to slow them down. One thing I want to see stick is Cordell playing with the team. How many times have we seen them try and go into dining? How many times has it paid off? One time you went in, you found a kill, you tried to find another, you got picked off, you weren't even aiming. And I got a nice little stat for you, very quickly. DV, Dallas Vendetta, but not the roster that was seen here today because they have changed. They had as many overtimes as the rest of the league combined. They're looking to add on to that at the moment, but, well, they'll need a couple more games to do exactly that. But, Toys, this is the opportunity. You found a round, but you're back in the attack and back into a site you haven't won yet. This is where you really need to show your stuff and show that you can win. And for me, Dallas Vendetta, this cocktail side this is where it needs to be cleared out. You can't let them stay there as long as they did, because that's just not going to cut it.
Certainly won't, and I think I have to highlight what you said as well. Cordell must play with his team, not run up a staircase where there's no drone. He's got to work with the intel. Playing like this is not going to get you far. There's barbed wire, there's cameras, there's finally a drone in sight for Train. Cordell, I said it yesterday, or not yesterday, I said it last round. Cordell needs an opening pick. If he's going to justify him playing insta-lock Ashe every round, he's got to get something out of it, because he has had a whisper quiet attack half. And, I mean, that is kind of true for everyone on Toys, but Cordell needs to be the electrifying effect. He's got to step up for his team and fill the role like players we saw earlier in the game, like Maxilli for Synthetic. Somebody needs to step up, take responsibility, whether that's the leadership on Toys, the IGL, to define the plan and to decide what's got to happen here in this first attack round of overtime, or the Fragger to pave the way for site control.
Yes. Now, we're looking at Dallas Vendetta, and we can see Jarden's taking that position in the pillars. They can open that pillars wall up, but I'm going to assume that that meat jammer is still in position. It's not going to get taken away. That wall's still going to be opened up. We're going to see some vertical play done above, but I think Toys, they're focusing a lot on this pillars wall, and not as much as they should. That's my own personal opinion there, Stick. You're welcome to have another one. I might be wrong. I'm not exactly sure what their game plan is. We have only really seen him be able to get a plant down once using this attack, and it wasn't a very convincing plan at all. Cordell, squeaky bomb time. Gonna be trying to get that utility reactive. Is going to be able to find a kill onto Jello. The utility will be taken off the wall. Smack isn't going to be able to impact trick it, but you don't need to. Realistically, your roamers are doing a lot of work. Kino's going to get picked off, but now we're going to see ourselves in a 4 versus 4. That Albert is going to be waiting, wanting to sing. Oh, Jordan able to find a kill onto Smack. Cordell's able to find one of their own. Hashtag is able to find Matt Bonger on the refrag. But there's Cordell. He's waking up. And suddenly, you're looking at Toys with a real opportunity. Object on that top floor can shut everything down with the perfectly timed spray. But now you're feeling pressure. Now you're seeing, oh, Cat just push up and able to find the kill. Realizing smoke canister, that means there's no gun in his hand. Ah. The maths, it's coming together, Stick. So they're able to push, they're able to find a kill, and Toys finally win an attacking round. It took them a lot of tries. They were able to find 2 in the end, but now they're going on to the defense. This is where they were strong. They were dominant, even. I'll go as far to say both teams have had a 5-1 split on the defense, and I'm gonna say Toys, now that they've found 2 rounds on attack, a monumental 2 rounds on attack, might I add, yeah, I'm going to back them a little bit, because they're going to be heading to attack even if they don't win this defense, and they've proven that they can win it more than Dallas Vendetta have so far. So, based on stats alone, I'm pegging Toys as the winner of this. So, Dallas Vendetta, prove me wrong. You've already done it once, I want to see you do it again.
Well, you know the way that the old proverb goes, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And that is to find playing attack here on Cafe, because there has been very few attack rounds. Disconnection here. I think the rehost will be called before the end of the prep phase, so that should be confirmed. We're not admins. We'll wait for the call to be made, but trust only your squad. This is a brutal interruption to the momentum that we've seen this game so far. Toys on overtime match point, but Dallas Vendetta for their attack, they're going to have an option to take a step back, to discuss the plan, and to figure out what's going to happen here in round number 14.
I think this is the perfect time for a rehearse, because it allows us to catch up on what's been going on. Now, the players might disagree with me, okay? But I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling kind of like I don't really care, because that gives us a real good time to break down what we've seen so far. And as we approach what is at least the penultimate round of the game, could be the final one, what are our thoughts, really? We're looking at this reading dining site. We're seeing the Arunia bribe. We're seeing Matt Bonga with that DMR, which was very, very prominent. And this is why I expected a lot from Matt Bonga on the attack, because when we saw him with the DMR, man, it was noticeable. you knew Matt Bungle was pulling up when he had that DMR. So, reading Dining, how do you think this is going to go? Because we haven't seen a Toys attack in quite a while, actually. Or Toys defense, sorry.
I think Toys, their attacks were struggling. Dallas Vendetta, theirs were not very good either. They were slow, and they were slow. The progress was not steady, and it was not consistent, and there's a lot of different ways that you could describe how that went on, but they have to come into this, I think, just decide ahead of the round what the plan is going to be. That's the benefit of having the rehost here. As an attacker, you kind of, bust out your notepad and, write down, okay, first, we're going to go up to the rooftop, open hatches, get the drones in, maybe, maybe set a pre-placed drone during the early round so you know what's going on the top floor, and you can make a decision, make an audible call off the back of that, and then better, use all of your various pieces of intel. I think every single round, except for what we saw on Toys' kitchen defenses, there has been a pixel hold. There has been deployables, a Vulcan or otherwise. There's been ADS, and there's been with my magnets. So, hey, because this is a pattern of behavior you've established, you've identified, maybe put somebody on the white stairs window to cut off the rotation, because we haven't seen that so far, and the angle has been open each and every time.
Yeah, it's something I talked about, and it's something I would quite like to see. And a big thing that you talk about, Stick, is we've seen that pixel hold a lot coming out from Trust Only Your Squad. And the big thing is, with this rehost, well, they're going to have to pick the same operators. They're going to have to pick the same site. Dallas Vendetta, they've had an opportunity to get a glimpse. They know what's going to be coming up against them when they go back in. There isn't going to be use of the 6-pick unless they're going to 6-pick onto the same operator just to make sure that everything is above board. But they have a little bit of time to look at what's on the board, think about what they want, and this is the best time possibly for that to happen. Horrible for Trust Only Your Squad. They've just put 2 attacking rounds on the board, and now they have to take a little break. But as my voice apparently dies, I've got to think, looking at this reading, we're going to see Toys want to slow things down. They're going to want to just have the ingredients that baked a beautiful cake of round wins in that first half, which is slowing them down, not giving them any room for breathing. Every time we saw them put some pressure on Cocktail, a player was on Pixel applying pressure. And vice versa. Every time we saw something happening from Dallas Vendetta, their timing was an issue, and Toys picked up on that. They basically said, okay, their timing's an issue. Let's catch them in these crucial moments, which if you swing at in a normally paced game, where a team aren't having timing issues, it can shut down a round. It's just catastrophic for Dallas Vendetta. I'm thinking, when we're looking at this push, with 10 seconds left, and we have 2 people moving Cocktail, they're looking towards Freezer and Cocktail, not towards Pixel, with the open wall, and you just see the Goyo with the Vector just open things up, shut things down, and, well, give Toys the round. Like I said, I'm going to stick with what I think now that we've seen the first attacking overtime round go in favor of Trust Only Your Squad, and that they were able to push this to overtime. I think that we can see a Toys win, but it's only going to secure 2 points, and it's going to expose quite a key number of issues moving forward. A lot of VOD review.
Yeah. One thing that we talked about earlier is for both of our Monday and Tuesday broadcasts, every game ended in regulation, and some of them were actually fairly decisive results. Today, those matches sending us into overtime. Earlier, we had Synthetic close out their game 8-6. This one, maybe for Toys, could be traveling in a similar direction, because mainly, I think it's the idea that Toys have finally figured out how to play on attack. They've got the first OT attack round, which is as much as you could like. I think DV kind of won out in the fact that they get 2 defenses.
Yeah.
They get to try it both times. They get to play maybe a different bomb site or repeat the one and try a different strategy. But now the Toys have showed us that they can win an attack. They can play across both sides of the bomb. We haven't seen that from Dallas Vendetta. They have to prove it here in this round with no higher stake than only taking home the single round that an OT loss would give you.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest, I'm looking at this and I'm saying this is Toys' game to win. And realistically, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be a huge upset. Dallas Vendetta, they're going to pull a cat out of the bag. They've got to pull everything. They've got to pull a whole damn zoo out, Stickler. Because they need to find kills, they need to find map control, they need to find timing issues and sort them out. 1 round, and that was the bottom floor that they won. They don't have that luxury. They've got to shut things down. They've got to get in, get droning, get their timings precise, and it's something that we haven't really seen possible so far. That's a big issue that I need them to sort out. Like, I'm looking at it, and the timing is something I talk about a lot, especially in that first half, because you can't live in a competitive Siege environment if your timings are whack like that. And yeah, I'm sure you'll back me up. Please do, because I'll look like an idiot if you don't.
Yeah, especially for Cafe, you have to get that under control. Cafe, Oregon, and Clubhouse are all maps that as a T4 player, both of these teams have decent baseline and foundation of experience. You kind of, if you're going to go here, if you're going to go to Cafe, you should probably have that down pat. Because so far, the timing issues, the fact that this game has had overwhelming defensive success compared to attacking rounds won is just astonishing. And for just only your squad to have played so poorly in some of these attack rounds, it's not really what I would expect out of the team that made it all the way to the grand finals during the winter season. Maybe Cafe, just not Toys' map pick, but I don't know. This is not exactly the way that I would have picked this game to go, given the fact that Toys overwhelmingly have more experience and seem like a better coordinated team last season, making a lot of progress as individuals. And then to come in the first game of their season and then to struggle for so long. It just doesn't befit them.
Yeah, I mean, these are the runner-ups that we're seeing from the last season. Aerial Arai is able to beat them out, but still, that's a huge, huge bar to hold. So, seeing Toys struggle like this against Dallas Vendetta, this new roster, well, it makes you think, Stickula. There's a lot of potential for a lot of teams to fill this spot that Toys are going to make vacant. And I talked about this with Synthetic being pushed to overtime. The same thing's happening here. We're seeing some giants start to topple, aren't we?
This would be so important for DV if they could secure this win. That really gets their season going. Lion being introduced here. We saw this in a few rounds. The one that is most defined in my mind was when the Lion ran in the hell door and just got flattened by a defender waiting and reading. So that doesn't really give Lion the hugest bouncy. So far, we haven't seen rounds for the attack. I mean, regulation attack wins where Lion was there. There just hasn't been very many of them. And the Lion's success as a result has been fairly low. Nitros are a big thing. Trust only your squad. Jello's got the single one. We have seen a lot of success off the back of Toys. They've managed to launch up these C4s and completely decimate Dallas Vendetta's attacker. The opening pick in this round will be incredibly important. If Dallas Vendetta can get a 5-on-4 secured for, upwards of 20 seconds without it being traded, that is personally a huge win for them.
I'm gonna say it. If we see this white window open up and get a kill from there, boom. I think we see Dallas Vendetta even things up and push themselves back onto the defensive side where they have the best opportunity to win. They are not going to have that opportunity, though. We're going to see Matt Bonga able to find that opening kill. Pulls up the top stairs. Doesn't want to take away the Lion, but doesn't need to. No. Punches that barricade and pulls back. Toys. Well, this is it. You have just secured that opening pick. You've taken away the ace stick. The ace. The lone hard breacher.
Yeah,
no Heartbeat gadget, no Maverick, no nothing. Now it's all down to the flashbang, to utility to take control of this top floor. You can't open that red stairs. You've got to go through these choke points that Toys they are ready for. Now, though, Dallas Vendetta, there's opportunities, there's potential, but they need to be able to shut down the roamers. They need to apply the pressure, and they need to play it perfectly. A single mistake will end it all, and Toys will run away with this.
There is no room for error now. Toys have won the opening duel in a decisive, untraded fashion onto one of the most important attackers. Frag grenade still in the pocket of an object. Got 2 for reactive, but an aggressive play shuts him down. Though Jello will die, the trade for that utility and the effect it'll have, fairly important to talk about. Toys still hold on to a one-man advantage. The fact that you've lost one set of your grenades could be very crucial in dispatching the many Vulcan shields that we see here from the Goyo. The retreat from 1. The lifeline shot all the way back, but where's the nade to break the pixel shield? It's just not there. And any more time wasted here. Object, what is he doing? He's just lost the window to launch this nade in. Close up, he'll try to go for a second. It's sent into the bathroom, but seems maybe captured by an ADS or off target. I'm not sure which. Either way, Smack will find Cordell. Dallas Vendetta have managed to skirmish their way back to a 3-on-3 battle on the round. The Pixel Shield difficultly wasn't cleared, but it seems they managed to kind of work their way past it in some sense. Two men on the floor of the objective, and one still waits up top. This round going to come down to the very end.
Yeah, you see Stickler with that pixel position, they've had to push through. They've had to get scrappy, and like you said, just scrape their way back into the 3 versus 3. This isn't holding good when it comes down to the time. Toys, they're finding the open kills. They're able to clear utility, but that's not the point right now. When you're playing in pixel and looking to push, you know it's clear. You need to be ready to deal with Jordan. Lying in wait, the SMG and shotgun off the smoke, gonna make this position impossible. Now that smoke canister will go off. Bullets will go through these main entry points they need to go through. Cat's gonna find one, but Matt Bonga gets 2. And Toys, well, they're gonna win things out. Only seeing one more round, and well, simply put, Stickler, Toys are able to win things out eventually, but on overtime. And the big thing is that teams know to take them to calf now. And most importantly, make them pick it so they get defense first. If you go attack, then...
I would not be surprised to see Toys come out of the gate next week and have this be their first veto. So that was just, I mean, not at all the expectation. I have to give props to Matt Bonger. Not only the opening pick gets rid of the ace, but also the 2 closing picks there as the rest of the attackers filed down the white hallway and into Woodstack. He just mowed him down. Matt Bonger had consistent impact with that DMR, pretty much the whole defensive split every time it was a defense round, and he had picked up the Aruni. And trust only your squad, after such a battle, nearly a reverse sweep comeback for DV, it is finally put to rest. And just what a shocking game. Few issues across the board. Toys, I did not like seeing that reading attack with the pillar wall. Not a strategy that worked very successfully for them. And it was one that came down to a brutal close every time that we would see it. That being said, that is it. Dueling 8-6 matches tonight here for Upsurge, wrapping up the first week of play for the spring season of Rainbow Six Siege. We have another game still to come. Upsurge for Valorant. It'll be Slaughterhouse playing against Delusion. Be sure to stick around for that, but I've been Stickula, my co-caster McCready, Hyper, working the production behind the scenes, and our great observer, Nova. From all of us here at UPL R6, we thank you for what has been an awesome first week, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday.
All the way down that choking sign gon' make me ski. I ski, yeah, now